to the hardliner. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports authorities are investigating radioactive material found on a worker's clothing 1 week after a tunnel collapse at a nuclear waste site in the state of Washington. Around 7 p.m. on Thursday, Washington River Protection Solutions, a government contractor in charge of all 177 underground storage tanks at the nuclear site, detected high radiation readings on a robotic device that 7 workers were pulling out of a tank. Then, contamination was also discovered on the clothing of one worker, on one shoe, on his shirt, and on his pants in the knee area. Using leak detection instruments, WRPS said it did not find liquid escaping from the tanks. On Saturday, the Hanford site confirmed the incident had occurred and employees had returned to normal work locations at their regular scheduled times. On May 9th, workers noticed that a section of a tunnel at the nuclear waste site had collapsed, creating a 20-foot hole. Workers filled the hole with soil. The tunnel was constructed during the Cold War to hold rail cars loaded with equipment contaminated during plutonium production. It had been sealed since the 1990s, according to the Department of Energy. Earlier Thursday, the governors of Washington and Oregon urged President Donald Trump, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, and White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney for enough budget money to accelerate the safe and efficient cleanup of nuclear waste at Hanford. The state of Washington has legally binding agreements with the Energy Department to treat, remove, or permanently store Hanford's waste. The cleanup of Hanford began in the 1980s, and the Hanford N reactor ceased producing plutonium in 1987. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports China killed or imprisoned 18 to 20 CIA sources from 2010 to 2012, hobbling U.S. spying operations in a massive intelligence breach whose origin has not been identified, according to a New York Times report on Saturday. The New York Times reported, citing current and former U.S. officials, that investigators remain divided over whether there was a spy within the CIA who betrayed the sources or whether the Chinese hacked the CIA's covert communications system. The New York Times reported the Chinese killed at least a dozen people providing information to the CIA from 2010 through 2012, dismantling a network that was years in the making. One person was shot and killed in front of a government building in China, according to 3 officials speaking to the Times, saying that was designed as a message to others about working with Washington. The CIA declined comment on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
His name is Osimo. Honda has unveiled its new human-like robot that the team says is designed to run a non-competitive half marathon and then smugly brag about it afterwards. Project leader Kenji Saito calls the robot very aggravating, adding, quote, "We knew how to create a robot that could run great distances at high speeds. The challenge was to build a bot that would be impressed with its own minor achievement. The robot even believes it could run a full marathon if it wanted to, but it's just doing this to stay in shape and have some fun.
If I wanted to, I probably could have played college football."
Aiming to make the android as realistically human as possible, scientists installed sensors to register derisive comments and eye rolls from annoyed coworkers as genuine interest in its self-centered blathering. The team noted that the irritating robot could be useful in medical fields as well. Already, Osimo has pestered scientists into sponsoring it to run a 5K in Cape Cod this summer. To date, it's raised over $700 for leukemia research.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial on in toll free. You can join us on the radio waves here on this live Sunday edition of the program. With you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
Me, Johnny Ray.
And me, Mark.
Last night on the show, I guess it was in the last hour, we started a story about Willie Nelson and the words of wisdom that he has for Jeff Sessions, who is the Attorney General under Donald Trump, an Attorney General who has been trying to ramp up the war on drugs, has called into question what the federal government's policy is going to be from here on out, specifically with regard to the war on cannabis, which had been sort of slowly kind of pulling back. They've been pulling away from it, given that there are all these states that have medicinal cannabis. What is it? Over half of them, I believe, have medicinal programs at this point. And now, I believe 8 states plus D.C. are legal to possess and to smoke cannabis. So, they were supposed to be kind of rolling things back, and then this Sessions guy gets in and he starts talking tough about marijuana again. And Willie Nelson had some words for him. PersonalLiberty.com had the story originally over at Rolling Stone. It was an interview with Rolling Stone. And Nelson had said, so we started this, we never even really got into Nelson's quote because we just, got distracted. Anyway, Sessions would probably realize he's exaggerating when Sessions has claimed that marijuana is, quote, only slightly less awful, unquote, than heroin if he'd actually tried both drugs. 84-year-old country outlaw said, Nelson said this, quote, I wonder if he's tried both of them. I don't think you can really make a statement like that unless you tried it all. So I'd like to suggest to Jeff to try it and then let me know later if he thinks that he's still telling the truth.
Well, I have smoked the marijuana, and I have taken an oxycodone one time. I had a ruptured eardrum.
Yeah, what was the milligrams on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I can tell you I was pretty messed up.
So maybe it was like a 20 or something like
I don't know. I don't know.
How messed up? Like motor functions were pretty messed up kind of thing? Like, 'cause
I certainly shouldn't have been. Shouldn't have been driving.
Yeah.
I was not driving. I'm just saying I should not have been driving. The opiates tend to react that way for me. And I would say that, it's possible to get really, 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 really high, but it...
on the oxy?
No, on marijuana. So you can be sort of highly affected by it, but I guess just all the stories I've read as far as heroin goes, heroin's just a much bigger life destroyer than marijuana is.
Here on Mondays on New Hampshire Public Radio, I think they have a weekly tradition of having the governor on, and I just happened to be listening to it the other day, and he said that the consensus was that marijuana was a gateway drug for heroin, and that was just one of many disheartening things that I heard him say.
But yet he said he's going to sign decriminalization.
Yes. That's right.
That's a strange dichotomy to have, right? On one hand, to still have this false belief that marijuana is a gateway drug. The government's own Institute of Medicine study from, I believe it was the year 1999, disproved that claim that they've been, and they still keep claiming it over and over again. I mean, ad infinitum, that it's a gateway. What they found was that if there's any kind of a gateway effect, that it's because of prohibition, because people who go to buy marijuana are having to go through the black market, or traditionally have gone through the black market for that. And a black market dealer of marijuana is much more likely to have other things for sale. And because they are then in close proximity, to easily able to sell and purchase these things, they're more likely to use something like heroin simply because it's close by, simply because it's being offered.
And also there's a general tendency to, in a black market, to go after the very potent, concentrated things that are easier to transport.
And perhaps more profitable. I'm not sure what the profit margins are on heroin, but if nobody was making money, they wouldn't be doing it, or they wouldn't be selling it.
I was very disheartened to hear Jeff Sessions, when that first story first broke about how they were going to start enforcing mandatory minimums, basically prosecuting these drug laws to the fullest extent. And President Trump was supposed to come in and shake things up, but it seems like his whole staff is fighting the battles of the early 90s, like nothing's been learned.
Absolutely not. Although didn't we see a headline about Congress not, I guess, giving the DEA or ONDCP or whoever, one of those anti-drug groups in the government, not funding marijuana or medical marijuana enforcement. Like, I feel like I saw a headline about that, but maybe you've been following it more closely. You're welcome to join us here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Personally, I'm not concerned about it. I think that we've finally crossed the threshold on this issue of being able to, we're not turning back. It's not likely that the federal government is going to be able to put this genie back in the bottle, so to speak, where you've got 8 states that have completely legalized cannabis for the most part, with some restrictions, but taxes and regulation and all that, but legal to possess and smoke it. You've got the dozens of states where it's legal for medicinal. I just don't see it being a fiscal, viable thing for them to do, not only in the what the public will think about it, but to just be able to go in there with jackbooted thugs and to somehow stop this business, this multi-billion-dollar business or whatever. It's outpaced alcohol in Colorado as far as the tax revenue is concerned in just a matter of 3 years or something like that.
A lot of people visiting.
And that's tapered off to some extent now, Mark, because there are other states that they can visit that have cannabis, but it's still doing very, very well.
I think they really got the business of marijuana tourism down there in Colorado. It seems like.
No, yeah, they definitely do. So I'm optimistic about this, even with whatever tough talk is coming out of Jeff Sessions. I think that at the very least, cannabis is on a trajectory finally to gain more states that have it in legal status. And the longer they leave their hands off, then the more safe other states are going to feel about making that flip. And so who knows what the next couple of years are going to hold as far as that goes. But let me get back into Willie Nelson here. He is, of course, a longtime marijuana advocate, says PersonalLiberty.com, who has had his share of run-ins with law enforcement officials over his personal drug use. But the singer says his use of cannabis over the years has played a part in his longevity, helping him kick habits with more deleterious health effects. He told The Cannabis last year, quote, "It's medicine, and it's already been proven to be medicine. End of story." He said, "I had emphysema and had all kinds of different health problems caused by drinking and smoking, so I decided I wasn't getting high from smoking cigarettes, and I had a pack of Chesterfields, so I took them all out, threw them away, rolled up 20 big fat numbers, stuck them into the Chesterfield pack, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since, and that's been 30, 40 years ago." So that's pretty impressive. And of course, a lot of people have used marijuana to help them with very serious drug habits. We were talking about heroin. It's not an uncommon story for opiate addicts to use some call the marijuana maintenance program, where they will use cannabis as a way to wean themselves off or quit heroin, essentially. And I think you generally have to wean yourself off that, or you'll have some pretty serious withdrawals. But they'll use marijuana and the getting high factor from that to supplant getting high off of a much more dangerous chemical, which is heroin. And I know people who've done that. I know people who've had success with stopping an opiate addiction because of marijuana. That's what they credit it to.
Yeah, I've heard the same. It's what they would call it in the drug treatment counselor business is just essentially transferring your addiction to something else.
Right. If you're going to have an addiction, it might as well be something more safe.
Right. One thing that we can see is that humans, and it's not limited to humans, but humans seem to like to alter their consciousness. There are other animals that like to do it too, but if you start with that, then let's try the things that are least harmful, I suppose.
Did you ever see the video of the monkeys stealing people's drinks on the beach in some island nation? I forget where that was, but it's hilarious. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More from Willie Nelson here if we get a chance. It's Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is of the opinion that the current Bitcoin core development team is not taking satisfactory steps to ensure the growth and advancement of Bitcoin in accordance with Satoshi's vision. As community efforts to resolve these problems have failed, it is necessary to resolve them with a different approach. By using subreddit r/BTC instead of r/Bitcoin and running Bitcoin Unlimited, you are casting a vote against the current development team. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Hey, diabetics. Yeah, you. Got a spare hour to waste going to the pharmacy to get your insulin or other meds and supplies every month? I didn't think so. Me either. I've got life going on, which is why I use PillPack. PillPack is an amazing online pharmacy. They package up all my diabetic meds and testing supplies into daily doses and send it to me every month, automatically. All I do is pay my normal copay. PillPack does the rest. I'm serious. This is a free service. They don't even charge for shipping. PillPack handles all the medical insurance stuff and even get with my doctors for my other prescriptions so I don't have to, which is good because that's the stuff I forget. But PillPack remembers everything. They even package up my daily vitamins so I remember to take them too. If you're diabetic, your meds and supplies are life and death, which means you need PillPack. Call right now for this free service. You may even qualify for $25 in free vitamins. 800-560-7310. That's 800-560-7310. Again, 800-560-7310.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk live Sunday edition of the program. Coming up, we got economics in one lesson as we slowly churn through the chapters of this book. We are on chapter, 16? Chapter 16, that's right. And it's about more on price controls. Jonny Ray, Mark, and I have been going through chapter by chapter in this free book that anybody can download online, written by Henry Hazlitt. It's called Economics in One Lesson, so feel free to look for that. We'll talk about that a little bit more.
Third chapter in the same theme.
Yes. Well, there's an overall kind of theme that's just sort of stretches throughout the book. But we'll get into that here in a little bit. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
So healthcare is in the news. It's all over the place, and it's certainly worth talking about because, well, it's costing so much these days. And the service you get isn't that great. But there is a free market healthcare company that can give you freedom from health insurance. It's healthexcellenceselect.com. They'll give you things like a proactive health assessment daily if you want to get it, no charge 24-hour access to doctors, a medical information card that you can give to EMS, first responders, the emergency room, or whatever medical professional you want to give it to. You can check them out right now, healthexcellenceselect.com. I think you'll like the price. They have single, couples, and family plans, and the family plans as little as $600 a month. So any kind of doctor, too. Traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, massage. You'll love the service and the price. healthexcellenceselect.com. Again, it's healthexcellenceselect.com.
All right, let's go. We'll go to your calls and thoughts. Then a little bit more from Willie Nelson. He's got some words of advice for Jeff Sessions, and I pulled up the full interview from Rolling Stone, and there's a couple other kind of fun comments that he has here. We'll get into that. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Skype, where we've got Stefan on the line in Ohio on the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
What's on your mind?
I'd like to discuss gun rights a little bit.
All right.
I've had some libertarians speak to me and say, for example, like owning something like a bomb is aggression. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Well, it depends on what kind of bomb
like a
we're talking
nuclear
about.
bomb.
Yeah, a nuclear bomb, I think you've got a solid argument that poses an imminent threat to anyone in, a very, large vicinity, whereas a pipe bomb sitting in your garage doesn't.
I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to hold my own here, but I can't go along with that. I don't see the difference between a nuclear bomb and a 12-gauge shotgun.
Seriously?
Yeah, as far as...
You don't see a difference.
There's obviously a difference. I see a difference.
And if an accident happens with a 12-gauge shotgun, it, at the very worst, would involve someone dying. Probably not more than a couple someones if they happen to be downrange from it. But if an accident happens with a nuclear device, then we're talking about a significant factor of harm.
I agree with that 100%. But I don't think that is relevant to whether or not I should be allowed to own a nuclear bomb, because I should be.
You can own you can have a shotgun and you can shoot somebody with it, and you can know that the person that you shot was an aggressor, right? Like, that's a possibility with a shotgun. Mm-hmm. You can't use a nuclear weapon except in some very, very extreme circumstances, and expect to kill only an aggressor.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's not a defensive weapon.
It's not. It's a weapon of mass destruction.
I would like to say that I would like to take back what I said about how I should be allowed to have one, because I definitely should not be allowed to have a nuclear bomb. But nevertheless, we don't need a government making laws telling me that I can't have a nuclear bomb, because the natural order of the universe doesn't cause a lot of nuclear bombs to be built. It's when you bring states in and they start fighting each other, then these weapons start being propagated.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Johnny Ray. It's the government ongoing conflict around the globe that has escalated to the existence of these weapons, to them being created and distributed in the first place. And I guess the question is, we were just talking about putting the marijuana genie back in the bottle. Well, nuclear weapons exist now. So it's not an easy question to answer. I'm not expecting anyone to have an answer. But if we do get to the point of people wanting to end the state, ending the idea of the coercive monopoly that we know of as the state, what happens to the nukes?
Right. It's a tough question, because they exist and they can be built. And one may argue that the only reason nukes haven't been used up to this point is because other nations have them.
Because of mutually assured destruction.
Right. So we had a situation where the United States had an atomic weapon and Japan didn't, and they got used. The United States hasn't gone to war that I can think of, like directly with a country in the last 7 decades that has a nuclear weapon. There's some saber rattling going on right now with North Korea.
They're always rattling their saber.
But there's not an ICBM. They don't have they may have a nuclear weapon, but they can't get it from North Korea to here.
There's barely even a get off the launch pad rocket over in North Korea, apparently, according to a couple of their recent tests.
Yeah, well, again, they've got, I think, 10, and I don't want to see whether all 10 of them fizzle right there on the launch pad. This seems like those are statistics I wouldn't be interested in. So it's not the easiest question to answer because it's the mutually assured destruction aspect that kind of perhaps has kept these weapons from being used.
I just know that there's a. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, you first.
Okay, I was going to say something that is not terribly illuminating. I think there's an overwhelming, as far as these weapons are concerned, the consensus is that they need to be taken care of, and that will happen because people care too much about them. People will sequester them, and they won't be used as long as we're not we're not ruled by a bunch of weird bullies and collectivists.
Well,
I tend to agree with you. Go ahead, Stefan.
The reason I bring that up is because when I hear things like that, like, a nuclear weapon is aggression, I think to myself, are they trying to say anything that is designed to harm other people counts as aggression? In which case, couldn't a gun technically be...
No, that's not what they're saying. And Mark addressed the reason why. Because the gun can be used in self-defense, and most of the time is.
I would also claim that it's you're going to have a heck of a time convincing me sarin gas is not a threat against innocent people, because how do you use it and only kill aggressors? I suppose you could fill a building up with it or something that's full of bad guys, but it gets when you're talking about weapons of mass destruction, biological weapons, for instance, wouldn't you agree that it would be an aggression for, say, the Center for Disease Control to begin working on a new, more virulent strain of the bubonic plague?
I really don't think so. I think that you need to have an intent to aggress in order to aggress. And if just owning a nuclear weapon is not, you're not intending to aggress, and you cannot aggress without trying to.
I agree with you there, Johnny Ray, but you could certainly say it's negligence and that it couldn't possibly benefit anyone by doing those.
If you think
research.
that you're going to do something with something and there's not going to be a mistake at some point, you're aggressively stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're crazy. So I'd love to talk to you about it a bit more, though.
Thank you, Stefan, for the call. The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, or Skype in, like Stefan did, at Skype username LRN.FM.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Teens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting. That's AGORIST hosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll-free. Join us right here and bring up anything you want to discuss. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype, so you can Skype into the show here at username LRN.FM. Still to come, economics in one lesson. A little bit more from Willie Nelson after his comments to Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, about his war on drugs. But also do want to let you know about My Pillow. It's a great pillow. I use it. Mark, you have the My Pillow.
Yep.
It's fantastic. You can get yours with code FTL. You get 50% off, 50% off by using code FTL, like Free Talk Live at mypillow.com. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. And it's washable. You can put it in the washer and the dryer. It's a great product, and they stand behind it in a couple different ways. One, with a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can, if for whatever reason you don't like it, you can send it back to them, and they'll give you your purchase price back. And if you keep it, well, then you can feel good because it's guaranteed to last you for a decade. So go to mypillow.com and use code FTL for that 50% off. As we go to your calls and thoughts here, we can talk. I know you guys wanted to talk a little more about aggressive weapons, so we can come back to that too. Jim is on the line, however, listening in Missouri to KWTO in Springfield. Hey, Jim.
Good evening.
Welcome.
I was kind of aroused by your introductory talk about Sessions and his new war on drugs.
Yes.
Of course, we lost the war on drugs, and every new battle ends in failure. And it's time to take another look at what's going on in the rest of the world and how things are really being handled in a much better way in other countries, particularly Switzerland. They set up free heroin clinics, counseled the people who came in, made sure that they got normal doses and not just whatever they could find on the street.
Right.
The drug deals went down. They haven't had an opium overdose in over 20 years.
Wow.
And it just makes so much more sense. But no, we got to. Each new guy thinks he's tougher than the last guy, and he's going to make the war better and win it.
Just fight it harder.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put more people in prison.
The basic cause of addiction isn't the dealer. It's people feeling isolated and alone and looking for something. And they need medical help, not decriminalization.
You're absolutely right. And Jonny, I think you were talking during one of the breaks about a study on some rats. Tell us about that here in a moment. And also, I want to recommend, you mentioned Switzerland, Jim. Are you aware of the experiment with full drug decriminalization over in Portugal?
Very much so, yeah.
Yes, that's another one that
and
anybody...
They followed up after that. These people, the reason it's so hard for these other countries to break away is because of pressure from the U.S. And Portugal and Switzerland says, go to hell, U.S., we're going to do it the right way.
And as a result, in Portugal, after about 15 years, I believe, of total decriminalization, meaning that there's no penalty whatsoever for personal possession of personal amounts of any drug at all. And that has resulted in a dramatic drop in the number of addicts in that country, because the drug addicts are no longer afraid of going to get help. They're not worried that the doctor's going to turn them in or have to turn them into the police. They'll face criminal charges or whatever. They can actually go and get the assistance that they need, and it has helped big time. And far fewer people are addicted. Far fewer people are dying. It's all of the things that the war on drugs people supposedly want to accomplish being accomplished in the completely, reverse approach, which is to say, to allow people to make choices for themselves and to, suffer the consequences just for those choices, not have jail and a ruined life from, being abused by the system thrown on top of all of it.
I just wish every politician in America could read Chasing the Scream. It's a book that goes into where the drug laws originated and exactly what's going on around the world with everything all the way. And the gal that wrote it went into it with an open mind, and in the end concluded that the war just doesn't work.
Great call, Jim. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Yep, the toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom.
The only people that think the war on drugs is a good idea are the people who get paid by it.
For sure.
Right. I mean, there are people who speak out of ignorance and haven't looked at the issue thoroughly. Maybe they've got a bias of some sort, and that's what they're going to argue. But it just doesn't work, and it certainly isn't worth the money that gets dumped into it.
I mean, any cursory investigation would reveal to anybody with an open mind that it doesn't work. Now, Jonny Ray, let's talk about that rat park. If you recall that story, you'd mentioned it during the break. You weren't real sure what it was called. Did you look it up? Was it called Rat Park? Was that?
Yes. I had heard about it a few years ago, and then I heard about it recently in an interview with the author of Chasing the Scream. So some of these Free Talk Live listeners and I have similar tastes in podcasting.
Okay.
Possibly, or books. But in the 60s, experimental psychologists used rats in what are called Skinner boxes to test the effects of drug addiction. And a Skinner box is an unwholesome place to live a life as a lab rat. It's you're boxed in with sheet metal on all sides except for the door that opens to put your food in, and so forth. And and you've got no socialization. You're all alone in a dark hole 24 hours a day, basically. And they rigged up some of these Skinner boxes to allow the rats to administer drugs to themselves. They tried all manner of drugs, from heroin to cocaine, what have you, and they found that the more when the rat sort of discovered what the drug was and what it did to him, his or her use of the drug went up and up. And
this is when the rat was alone in the box?
Right. And then some years after, recently, maybe 2009, 2005, somewhere around there, some experimenters built a rat park where loads of rats lived, males and females together, and it was full of rat races and toys and cans to hide in.
A paradise, like a rat paradise.
Yes. And the drugs were still available to them, and the rats vastly preferred a water and a normal diet over the drug-laced water.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, because they had, they had other things to live for in their life, and they didn't need to escape from the hell that they were in.
That is so interesting that, that same thing that afflicts humans, because that's a big reason why people use drugs.
Desperation, sheer
bad circumstances.
Boredom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad circumstances. They want to need some kind of escape.
Escapism, for sure. And the Dr. Carl Hart Jr. study of the folks in the hospital that were getting the option to take real, nice doses of methamphetamine and pure crack cocaine, they refused to choose that option when given the choice of having a $20 per day reward at the end of this 3-week-long study. They could either get one or the other. They could get $20 credit to when they get out of the hospital, or they could get right then and there every day a fresh crack rock of cocaine. And when it was only $5 reward, they were more likely to choose the crack cocaine. But when it was a $20 reward at the end per day, they would not choose the crack and the meth, and they would say, I'll take the money at the end of the study. And at the end of the study, they hadn't done any crack. So same thing. And these were people who'd come from very poor urban areas where they felt defeated, nothing to live for. These were drug addicts. These were not normal folks. These were drug addicts who they brought into the study. So the exact same things, basically the human version of the rat study, or a very similar one. Let's go to Bill. He's listening in Reno. Bill, are you listening to us on the radio there in Reno?
I am. 99.1 FM Talk.
Excellent. I heard we were going to be getting back on KBZZ. Just didn't know that it had happened yet. I know you want to comment on the drug scene, so if you want to stand by, Bill, we're going to come right back to you, okay?
Absolutely.
We're coming up here in moments. And welcome to our new listeners there. Former affiliate back on with us in Reno, KBZZ.
Sweet.
One of the few progressive talk stations left in the nation. We're glad to be back on. You can join us here toll-free. We're live here on Sunday, 855-450-FREE, like Freedom, 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-9829. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. So you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-9829. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-9829. That's 1-800-940-9829.
Do you use Viagra or Cialis? Have you been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? What if we could promise you the same results for less than $2 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for Viagra, you're being taken to the cleaners. Our pill delivers the exact same results for less than $2. We'll do the math for you. You save more than $16 a pill for the same results. Want more? We'll give you 45 blue pills or 45 yellow pills for $99 and add 5 more pills free. You save more than $500. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call us at 800-590-4987 and get your 50 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for Viagra. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in an unmarked package. Call us right now. 800-590-4987. That's 800-590-4987. 800-590-4987.
Researchers have definitively concluded that all of it, is some kind of sick joke. The Princeton study suggests that the entirety of existence, including time, marriage, migratory patterns of birds, continental drift, life itself, photosynthesis, human society, and the changing of the seasons, are all part of a massive, twisted ruse orchestrated by a spiteful cosmos.
Look at you morons, taking this stupid video for your pointless newspaper. Everything's a joke. I'm a joke, you're a joke, the whole universe is a joke.
We at the Onion Week in Review are compelled to inform viewers that while this entire segment is indeed one small part of the giant perverse joke, the upshot is that the next minute of your life will be no more or less pointless than if you were to spend it with a loved one, mentoring an at-risk youth, or simply wallowing in your own feculence. In other news, Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels collaborate on a local felony. A churchgoer blanks on why she is lighting a votive candle. And please ring the bell and the boy will come round momentarily for your bags. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Bigot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything by dialing in toll-free here on this live Sunday edition of the program. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and you may Skype in as well. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
Don't forget, you can help support Free Talk Live by becoming an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. If you like the fact that we are heard on over 160 great radio stations, both progressive and conservative talk stations carry Free Talk Live across the United States. If you like the fact that we're heard, online, if you like the fact that we've got people around the world listening on the internet to the ideas of liberty and around the country on the radio, and you want to help support what we're doing, then please join the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. We had a great outpouring of support this week after I sent out a letter last week to our supporters and email lists and mentioned on the air that the AMP program was down a bit. We actually had so many come in. I haven't had a chance to get through them all this weekend, so I don't know how much more we gained, but we definitely gained this week. So like a lot of weeks we'll lose a little bit because we'll gain 2 new ampers, but we'll lose 3, that kind of thing. So we're attritioning amplifiers over the years. This was definitely a big gain week as far as new signups were concerned. So welcome back to people who were re-signing up. Welcome to those who were brand new. And if you're waiting for the official email from me, I'm sorry. I'm still working on processing them. I had to go and see Jonny Ray on stage today. He was in Romeo and Juliet, and it was a 3-hour-long play.
Patience perforce with willful color meeting makes my flesh tremble in their different greeting. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, now seeming sweet, convert to bitterest gall.
You were Tybalt in the play, and it was great. So anyway, I apologize. I had a little bit of fun over at Jonny Ray's engagement today, and I'll get back to work soon. But thanks to all the people who went to amp.freetalklive.com. If you were thinking about it, we could still use your help. But let's go back to Bill in Reno, listening on former affiliate, back on board with Free Talk Live, KBZZ there in Reno. Welcome, Bill. What's on your mind tonight?
Yes, sorry, gentlemen. I said the wrong words. I am on the Dark Matters radio network over online, so I apologize.
Oh. Okay.
The thing I was going to mention was that with the scourge of opioid and heavy anxiety disorder medication or anxiety medication, marijuana is very helpful for a lot of people in those situations. And just wanted to mention that. So.
Is that something you've had personal experience with, Bill?
Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely. 13 spine surgeries.
Whoa.
And, and took opioids for a long time, always chasing pain, and I'm healthier off of them. And with a lot of pain, you generally have a lot of anxiety, severe anxiety, and surgery. So I was on both, and cannabis really helps people in those situations, for sure.
Well, that's what it's always interesting to hear people's personal stories about how cannabis has profoundly impacted their life and their medical treatments.
As far as anxiety goes, I've heard people with anxiety say things to the effect of, it just makes me bananas, because some marijuana can make you paranoid. And
Sativa.
So I've heard, it's certainly done that to me.
Everybody's different. I mean, so all people are different in how they react to treatments like this. And as you pointed out, Bill, there's different types of marijuana. And in the black market, of course, you generally don't know what you're getting. But in the legal marketplace, in the medicinal marketplace, you absolutely know exactly what strain you're getting. And if you find one that works for you, you know which one you can go back to time and time again, unlike the black market, where it's just a crapshoot as far as what the black market dealer is going to have available. Yeah. Bill, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. And I guess even though he wasn't listening to KBZZ, we are going to be back on in Reno, is what I hear. Normally, I don't like to spill the beans on a radio station that hasn't yet technically signed the agreement with us, but it seems like the gears are in motion there.
Yeah, you've been doing this long enough. You probably know which ones work and which ones don't. And some of them have we've been on for years sometimes before they've signed an agreement.
Not really.
No? There weren't those stations?
That happened once or twice in the past.
That's some.
I guess that's some, but I mean, some could sound like larger than what it is.
Okay, I think it happened on two separate occasions.
And that was the same company on those
major
occasions.
Owner that is facing bankruptcy. But
one of them was on with us for so long without an agreement that they actually changed formats before we ever got the agreement. So we never got to count the FM station that we were on in Des Moines.
Yeah,
the whole time we were on there, big 40,000 watt FM.
Did they never
talk
call
station.
in, or it must have been a?
We had some callers from that station. Yeah, we just don't say what station it is generally if we don't officially have an agreement with them.
That's the one thing that you get out of that a station gets out of a contract.
No, you would also, if you're a radio station who signs with Free Talk Live, you would also get support. Meaning if you want to if you're running a radio station and you don't want to sign an agreement, we're not going to send lawyers after you. So, by all means, but we're also not going to spend time, cutting what they call liners in the business, which is where, like, when you come back in from a break, you'll sometimes hear, let's say, Rush Limbaugh or some other host on the station. They'll have them playing for like 10 seconds before our show segment starts, or it'll be our voice saying, "Hey, welcome back to Free Talk Live." So stations sometimes want to have that kind of customization for their shows that they have on, or they'll have us do liners for other shows. So where we'll promote our show in the middle of Rush Limbaugh, right? So if Rush Limbaugh is coming back from his break, they've got maybe some music that plays, and then it's me saying, "Hey, listen to Free Talk Live tonight at whatever time the station has us on." So if they don't sign an agreement, I'm not going to spend my time on the station like that. Anyway, you can call us up here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We're live here on Sunday, the Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. So we were talking about this rat park that you had mentioned, Johnny Ray, where they did a study years ago, and then they did another variant on it more recently that showed that rats, when isolated in a Skinner box, were very depressed. They were likely to self-medicate with heroin-tinged water or heroin-dosed water. They had the choice between just a regular bottle of water and then the heroin water, and they would choose the heroin water constantly, and just getting high constantly.
In the Skinner boxes, in the article that I was reading by Bruce Alexander, who I believe was one of the researchers with Rat Park, who had also grown up working with the Skinner boxes on the addiction tests. He said that the Skinner boxes had the rat was tethered, had his foot tethered to a lever that would inject him with a syringe, actually.
Whoa.
Instead, yeah, it was more involved than, as I had first heard it, just water.
Wow.
Yeah, but
that's crazy.
Yeah. But the loneliness was too much, so they had to do something to escape.
And so, again, not very different from what many humans use drugs to do, which is to escape their everyday, to escape the grind and the toil of their life, the frustrating circumstances that they find themselves in. And then, of course, the war on drugs only makes that worse. You've got somebody who's in a depressed state. You've got somebody who is using drugs addictively. They're feeding some sort of hole inside themselves and trying to fill that with the drugs and those experiences. It never ultimately does, so they're always seeking more. They always got to get high again and, running and chasing after that. And then in that process, they encounter a police officer. And that police officer searches their car, searches their person, does a stop and frisk if they're in some of the big cities out there. Maybe the search was legal or illegal. It doesn't matter. They're going to ruin that person's life even worse. Because not only can they get drugs in prison anyway, so it's not like that's going to necessarily solve their drug addiction problem.
Well, having been in prison, I can say that I didn't see a lot of drugs that weren't marijuana passing through. So to keep an addiction going would likely be pretty difficult. And even the marijuana was extraordinarily expensive, 10 times street price.
That was back in the old days, Mark. You don't know how they're doing it today.
Well, one would presume they got
drones now.
Their security has gotten better, so I would say that you probably aren't seeing.
I've still seen stories about guards getting busted here and there.
Sure.
For smuggling.
I believe that there's probably just as many drugs as there were 20 years ago. I'm just saying that, they do increase security over time, and likely that's gotten better. That doesn't mean that there's fewer drugs.
Mark, did you get Captain America comic books baked into a cake for you?
I did not. There was very little comic stuff.
No cakes
in prison.
either, huh?
Yeah. They serve cake
in
now
the
and
prison.
Then. Yeah. But they made it in.
Nobody could bring you a nail
kitchen.
file through.
No, that's not happening.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Hour 2's coming up. It's Free Talk Live. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
Everyone has something in their lives or just about themselves that they want to change, from trying to lose weight to becoming more motivated at work. Change is difficult, but the good news is no matter what, you don't have to go through it alone. Hypnotherapy can help you remove negative subconscious thoughts that keep you from achieving your goals. Never rely on just willpower again. Contact us at afterhourshypnotherapy.com today for your free consultation, or contact Melvin Marsh at 678-658-8483.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.87 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,022. AntiWar.com reports while the final official count is still not released, sources within the Iranian government say that President Hassan Rouhani has an insurmountable lead in Friday's presidential election and will easily secure victory over hardline candidate Ibrahim Raisi. The Iranian Interior Ministry has reported a far bigger than expected turnout in the election, estimated at over 70%. This led to some 5 hours of extension in the amount of times the polls were open to accommodate everyone. Over 40 million votes were cast. By the assessment of a source talking to Reuters, 37 million votes had been counted by Friday evening, with 21.6 million voting for Rouhani, meaning he's going to get a majority, and the only question remaining is how big of a majority he will manage when all is said and done. Rouhani's staff has claimed he won about 60% of the vote, and fellow reformist Mohammad Khatami released a picture of Rouhani making a victory sign on social media, bragging hope prevailed over isolation. Though polls had predicted the vote would be closer, signs are that the heavy turnout strongly favored the reformist and dealt a major blow to the hardliner. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports authorities are investigating radioactive material found on a worker's clothing 1 week after a tunnel collapse at a nuclear waste site in the state of Washington. Around 7 p.m. on Thursday, Washington River Protection Solutions, a government contractor in charge of all 177 underground storage tanks at the nuclear site, detected high radiation readings on a robotic device that 7 workers were pulling out of a tank. Then, contamination was also discovered on the clothing of one worker, on one shoe, on his shirt, and on his pants in the knee area. Using leak detection instruments, WRPS said it did not find liquid escaping from the tanks. On Saturday, the Hanford site confirmed the incident had occurred and employees had returned to normal work locations at their regular scheduled times. On May 9th, workers noticed that a section of a tunnel at the nuclear waste site had collapsed, creating a 20-foot hole. Workers filled the hole with soil. The tunnel was constructed during the Cold War to hold rail cars loaded with equipment contaminated during plutonium production. It had been sealed since the 1990s, according to the Department of Energy. Earlier Thursday, the governors of Washington and Oregon urged President Donald Trump, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, and White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney for enough budget money to accelerate the safe and efficient cleanup of nuclear waste at Hanford. The state of Washington has legally binding agreements with the Energy Department to treat, remove, or permanently store Hanford's waste. The cleanup of Hanford began in the 1980s, and the Hanford N reactor ceased producing plutonium in 1987. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports China killed or imprisoned 18 to 20 CIA sources from 2010 to 2012, hobbling U.S. spying operations in a massive intelligence breach whose origin has not been identified, according to a New York Times report on Saturday. The New York Times reported, citing current and former U.S. officials, that investigators remain divided over whether there was a spy within the CIA who betrayed the sources or whether the Chinese hacked the CIA's covert communications system. The New York Times reported the Chinese killed at least a dozen people providing information to the CIA from 2010 through 2012, dismantling a network that was years in the making. One person was shot and killed in front of a government building in China, according to 3 officials speaking to the Times, saying that was designed as a message to others about working with Washington. The CIA declined comment on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
People love photography. But when we thought about photography, we realized one thing. Humans are limited to looking at photos with our eyes. That's a problem, right? So we made an app, PicSong, the first program that turns your photos into music if you want to do that for some reason. It puts the power in your hands. You get to decide why you need this. I can't tell you why you need this. It's not my job. Who is this app for? Maybe it's for students, or artists, or blind people. But can it turn your music into photos? No, it can't. Do you get to keep the original photo? No, it gets deleted. Always back up your photos before using PicSong.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. Bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
Coming up, we got the latest chapter, as we've been going through chapter by chapter, the book Economics in One Lesson. It's about more price controls. And, of course, we'll take your calls and thoughts. Let's go to the phones, to Skype, actually, where David is on the line in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Jonny Ray, and Mark.
Yeah, you're hitting all my memories today. I lived in Switzerland. A cousin of mine, Ernest Orlando Lawrence Livermore Labs, was instrumental in creating the atomic bomb. He was at Los Alamos and Oak Ridge. And I had a 10-minute conversation with Willie Nelson one time. That was pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I actually, because I knew he would enjoy the story, I crashed his VIP receiving line after a concert one time. I climbed the fence and dodged the security guard to get in and went through his VIP line. And then I told him all about it because I knew he would think it was cool. Anyway,
Good story.
Fun memories. What I called about was just to give people an example of what happens in this country. Tomorrow is my son. He's got my name, David, as well. My son David's 13th birthday, and the last birthday that I shared with him was when he was 3.
Oh, geez.
And
that's a tough decade.
And that goes for his sister as well, Paisley, here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that's all that has all happened. We're talking, the law. I like to say that the law is every case is almost the same. It comes down to a wrongful taking, whether it's your money, your life, your freedom, your house, or your children. And in this case, this all stems from there is a court proceeding that's still ongoing. For 10 years, this has been going, and they haven't resolved any more than what they did in the first, the initial 6 months or whatever, when they should have resolved everything. We are no farther along, zero,
Wow.
no progress, even though we've been continuously in court for 10 years. And once again, like I said, the initial separation was over insinuations, not allegations, insinuations. And when I petitioned the court to put me on trial, bring these witnesses in, put me on trial, go ahead, do whatever you want, they wouldn't do it. So,
the decision had already been made, right? They made the decision to take the kids, and that was that.
They made the illegal decision to separate me from my children, and they never have reunited me with my children, even though, like I said, they did it illegally without due process, without admissible evidence.
That's what they do best.
And when I saw them doing that illegal process, I called them on the carpet in the form of both in the courtroom. I told the judge, and through filing, I was my own attorney at that point, and through filing motions saying, put me on trial. And the judge, you would think a judge would love that opportunity when somebody that they're insinuating against wants to be tried, and then they completely ignore you because they know they're what they've done is illegal.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how things work in this wonderful state of New Mexico. And Fortunately, New Mexico is not the only state that does things like this.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's fathers' rights movements all across the United States, and I'm sorry to hear about this sad decade anniversary there. Thank you for the call, David. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Stories like that, made me want to get a vasectomy at age 22 or 23.
It's it's sad what happens to, in many cases, fathers. I'm certain mothers feel the same way.
And there's two sides to every story, obviously, or three sides, right? Their side, the other side, and the truth.
Right, and the kids get their side and all that. It's
ugly.
It isn't pretty.
So toll free number
really
here.
Seems wrong to ask for money from a guy and then not allow him to see his kids.
I tend to agree with that.
Now, I mean, I'm not saying every circumstance. I suppose that there's probably some percentage of the population that should have to pay for their children and shouldn't get to see them. But I would think that percentage should be remarkably small. And I hear the complaint far too often.
And it should have some sort of, as he was pointing out, due process. If somebody wants to have a full-on trial, if they're going to take their kids away or take their ability to see their kids away, it doesn't seem like an unreasonable thing to ask. To be able to, well, let's see what the evidence is. Let's actually hear this out in a court under oath, rather than in, what is it, where they go back to the judge. Not in, I guess in camera is one way to do it.
In chambers?
Well, yeah, in chambers, but there's also another.
Approach the bench.
No, there's another term where you go to a judge without the other party's awareness or ability to be there, and it's one of those legalese terms that I'm sure people are shouting right now at their radio, and
oh yeah,
I'm spacing on it. Let's go to Sarah. She's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to mention that I gave like 30 red light camera speeches at the city council meeting.
You have?
Yes, I have. About before we had the vote, so about up to 5 years.
So if we go and pull up the Albuquerque City Council videos, because I'm presuming Albuquerque has online archived videos of their council meetings. I mean, if Little Keene, New Hampshire has it, I'm guessing a bigger city like Albuquerque should. So what you're saying is we can actually pull up your speeches that you gave to the city council?
Well, I mean, before 5 years. I mean, I was at it.
Oh, so it's been a while.
10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, when Mayor Chavez, he was the red light camera mayor. He was going to keep it no matter what. I was at it at that time. So we had 20 red light cameras in Albuquerque city limits at one time, like 12 years ago. But he was going to keep it no matter what. And I think are you with me?
Right here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it was a tipping point for him. That's why he got voted out, and we winded up with Mayor Barry. Because what Mayor Barry promised was that I'm going to do a thorough study on the red light cameras, and that was the promise. But when he got in, he stuck it to the voters.
And the voters said, get rid of this crap.
But you know what? The thing is, it was a false campaign promise because he never said, I'm going to take them out.
That's what politicians do. They lie to people. You understand that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so you can't believe that anything politicians say. In this case, he did, a good thing, which was to at least let people decide on this issue of red light cameras. I realize that you believe that these things are just, the most wonderful invention ever, but, the reality is they actually end up hurting people, and that's the reason why, not just, the fact that it increases accidents at the red lights, but it also hurts people in the wallet because it hurts them, by fining them for not actually putting anyone necessarily in any danger. If you turn right on a red, you're not generally going to put anyone in danger for doing that. Now, I understand blowing through an intersection during a red light is a pretty dangerous thing to do. That's going to likely get you a T-boning. But if you're just turning right on red.
A lot of people are getting these $50 tickets, and to them, the $50 is worth less than they're spending the day going to court and that sort of thing.
Hey, Sarah, thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number 855-450. Free like freedom. It's ex parte communication, Mark. That's what I was trying to think of the term where you go to a judge. It frequently happens in custody cases where one party will go to the judge and say, Judge, the other party, they're abusive and they're doing these terrible things, and I need an ex parte order right now because it's very important. This is happening now. It's urgent. I need this now. And the judge will frequently go ahead and write that order. Now, that's usually contingent upon a full hearing, but they'll go ahead and issue an ex parte order, having heard zero from the other party in the case. So that's what I was thinking about.
Got it.
So they hold a full hearing later to hear from the other party, and then they re-look at the issue at that point. But at that point, the kids are gone. They've been taken, and that can be very frustrating. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom 855-450-3733. Coming up, price fixing in economics in one lesson. We'll dig into that, and this is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com recently reported Bitcoin transaction fees have increased by more than 1,200% since 2015. To many Bitcoin proponents, the current fee market is moving way too fast, making Bitcoin unusable for certain transactions. The fee market and slow confirmation times have also increased the tension concerning the block size debate. However, if there are wallets with low amounts of Bitcoin that can't cover the fees, they become virtually unspendable. Learn more at news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com.
Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us right here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. Coming up, economics in one lesson. We've been going through chapter by chapter in this epic book by Henry Hazlitt from back in the 1940s, but with timeless economic concepts that are just as important now as they've ever been. We're going to share more on price fixing coming up here in moments. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
And we're going to go back to your calls and thoughts here. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that's on your mind. And I know, Mark, you wanted to talk about vaccinations. I've also got Venezuela news about what it's like to be elderly in Venezuela, and I think that's going to tie in to our price-fixing conversation pretty good. So that's all on the way here. But let's go to the phones first. Matthew is in Brooklyn, watching us on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Go ahead, Matthew.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, so, I had some questions for you guys,
okay.
But I'd like to give you a little context so that you're not in the dark. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
So I'm a Brooklyn guy, okay? I came from Brooklyn, and my whole life I grew up Catholic, and I met a girl, and, long story short, I converted to Islam recently. And
assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. And, there's a lot of things in Islam that people don't really understand. So I was wondering, and since you guys were talking about liberty, I was wondering, what your thoughts on, because I had just recently gotten through the Quran. I read the whole thing from front to back, and I was surprised to find that Muhammad's wife, he married a 9-year-old girl, and he had sex with her when she was 9 years old. Now, I didn't know this when I converted to Islam, but after I read that, I got sick to my stomach, and I just don't know what I should do anymore. I think I might actually go back to Catholicism.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy it that you're actually a Muslim, but let's just go ahead and take that at its face value.
So it's my understanding that we're not entirely sure that this occurred, like that the young lady was taken as a wife, but that doesn't mean that necessarily sex occurred. But if we were to presume that it did occur, then you could sort of look at historically. Sex with children wasn't particularly that unusual. I mean, it certainly happened in Rome, and Greece is known for sort of man-boy relationships, and including Alexander the Great, and I believe. I probably shouldn't say for sure. I think it's Plato, but I'm not entirely sure. Aristotle, maybe. I don't know. So, there you go. I mean, that's a way to look at it. It's certainly distasteful by our standards.
Let's look at also some other points, and that is that historians don't necessarily agree on how old this young lady
that's true too.
actually was. And don't forget, how old was Mary when she got knocked up with Jesus?
I've heard numbers as low as 13.
Yeah,
that means God had sex with a 13-year-old.
Yeah. So, that's something that deserves some look, and I'm sure I can pull up some details on that.
Could you help me with that? Because I'm confused. I don't know what. That's why I called in.
Yeah, I understand why you called in, and I don't know if I believe that you converted to Islam, because when I gave you the traditional call out, you answered it in an untraditional way.
Well, I just recently converted, so I'm not a guru. I don't know everything.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not actually a member of the I'm not a Muslim personally, but
before I go, I just
Yeah.
want to ask you one more question. Because you guys seem like smart guys. I've been watching your show for a couple weeks now, and I'm a first-time caller. So, in Islam, we don't really like the Jewish people, and I'm going to ask you a question. I was wondering.
I've never met a
why
Muslim
is
that said they didn't like Jewish people, but go ahead.
Yeah, this is why I don't believe. I think you're full of it.
I think this is absolutely
I
crank the
was
call,
just
but go
wondering-
ahead.
I was just wondering, why is it that the Jewish people are so just greedy and
Yeah,
slimy?
so you're obviously just a crank call. Thank you for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, look, I'm not a Muslim, but I've done some level of study. This guy claims he's read the entire Quran. I highly doubt that that's true. If I were more familiar with the book, I'm sure I could have asked him some questions about it. I've read it myself, but only once, and that was 6 years ago. I did read it cover to cover while I was in jail for civil disobedience, where there was another Muslim who was in the jail block with me, and we did some studying together of the book and about Muhammad and so on and so forth. So I know something, right? And I know enough to say that when you greet someone who is of that religion, you say Assalamu alaikum, and the traditional response is Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah.
Not to say Assalamu alaikum back. So that was my first indicator that this guy wasn't for real, and turns out that was right. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's see, though, what we can get as far as a more scholarly response to the question about the wife or one of the wives of Muhammad, because that is something that's come up before, and it is something that a lot of people concern themselves with about Muhammad. But I think, Mark, your answer was fine enough, but let's see what the scholars have to say. We'll get into that coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And if we have to, we'll see if we can dig up a real Muslim to answer some of this stuff, because Will Coley is normally willing and able to talk about this stuff with us.
If people, people want to call in about it, that's one thing. But the thing is that, I don't want to get mired in answering religious questions or anything like that. I mean, the internet will give you an answer on this question. And there is one belief that Muhammad's wife was young and that he had sex with her, but we don't know for sure. Also, people speculate, I'm looking here right now, that Mary was around 12 or 13. That makes her darn young. I don't know what's going on here, but of all the indictments, of all the things that you can say about religions, who cares about this particular issue? You're talking about, these millions of people have died for these silly Abrahamic religions, and you care about what Muhammad did 1,500 years ago? Yeah. That's your argument? Okay. I guess, these are ancient people's interpretation of God. Okay, fine. They've got an interpretation. Big deal.
According to Muslim.org and a exhaustive article about this particular subject, I'm not going to speak out of turn here. I'll get into that coming up here in moments, but let's just say that there's a lot of conflicting evidence on this. Let's go to Joe.
Well, I would try to obfuscate that, too, if it was true.
He's in Iowa. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, yes. I'm actually, my family is from Al-Qarid.
Okay.
My family's from Al-Qarid, and recently I was actually in Edgeville. It's a small town, and I've come across a lot of what that previous caller has been, kind of saying.
You've come across a lot of anger and hatred. Hang on, Joe. We'll let you make your point here in a moment. More coming up here. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here, bring up whatever's on your mind, and you can also call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Skype username is lrn.fm. In studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
Still to come, Economics in One Lesson is on the way here tonight. Phones are kind of blowing up. A lot of people obviously are concerned about Islam. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of hatred. A lot of it is based on misinformation. A lot of it is based on just out-and-out lies and bigotry. And we can continue that discussion as well. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Also, do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are fast. And they can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. So before we go back to the calls here, I do want to mention from Muslim.org, there's a lot of evidence based on dates and various different reports about Muhammad and one of his wives, the very young Aisha, Aisha perhaps, that some say that she was at least 14 years old at the time, and then toward the end
She's older than Mary.
So then at the end of the article, and again, there's all kinds of citations in here that I'm not going to go into. I'm just jumping down to the end here. They also suggest that she may have been as old as 19 at the time, and the article's author concludes, based on the evidence that is cited, that she was 19 when she joined the Holy Prophet as his wife in the year 2 AH, the nikah or betrothal having taken place 5 years previously. So there's a lot of detail in the story. I'll link to it on our Facebook and Twitter, and you can get into that. But then they go on to talk about, as we pointed out, that the Bible also has some very young females being wed and betrothed to very old men. Let's see, David, apparently King David, quote, when he was old and well advanced in years, he could not keep warm even when they put the covers over him. So his servant said to him, let us look for a young virgin to attend the king and take care of him. She can lie beside him so that our lord the king may keep warm. They searched throughout Israel for a beautiful girl and then found one and brought her to him.
How hard could it be? I mean, you'd think right there in the old palatial city there'd be one.
So I mean, there's a story which obviously has to do with a sexual encounter, and then Mary and Joseph, who Mary was apparently 12 years old when the temple elders decided to find a husband for her. I just came back from Romeo and Juliet, where the main character Juliet is 14, and there's statements in the play that many girls younger than her were being married off. So she was considered an older girl for being married off at that time. That was in the 1400s, was it, Johnny Ray?
I don't know.
In Italy?
Yeah, it's just when Italy was at its peak. I mean, we have today, and I'm not saying that I tend to think waiting to have sex until you're 17, 18, 19, 20 is probably a better idea as far as your mental health and physical health go. But at the same time, I mean, people have to be able to make decisions. We have this in, we send people to jail today for having sex with what is factually a biological adult.
You're talking about like statutory rape laws.
Statutory rape laws.
Males at age 20 will go to prison for having sex with a 16-year-old in some states.
Right, in some states. I mean, we claim that young people at the ages of 15 or 14 can't make these decisions, but they have historically made those decisions quite often.
I just wanted to throw out that information there since somebody brought it up. Let's go back to Joe. He's in Iowa. Watching us on YouTube.
Right.
Go ahead, Joe. What's on your mind today?
Right, yeah. Aisha, by the way, is the name.
Aisha?
I will forgive you for playing that bacon ad right after I called in.
Oh, I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, I heard it.
No, is it understandable for sure?
Gotcha.
But yeah, like I was saying, my family is from Al-Kharid, and we moved to a small town by the name of Edgeville, and I remember as a young boy, I was practicing archery down in the basement area there, and someone actually PK'd me,
What's
while
that
I was
mean?
down there. I don't know if you're familiar. Basically, it means he killed me and he took all my gold.
Your party kill? Is a PK
Right.
a party
Is this
kill?
like a live-action role-playing game?
Yeah. He player killed me, and he took 40,000 gold, which is not a whole lot, but it. Let me.
So you were playing a video
let me
game?
Just say,
You were playing a video.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, and he was he's saying a lot of bad things about Islam and how my culture is very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And but previous to that, about a month ago, I got 5 million GP stolen from me in this video game. And I feel like this is a lot of oppression for me, personally, because most of the messages I get after that are they're definitely not very nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, as somebody who's played online video games, and thank you for the call, Joe. It was funny. Somebody who's played online video. See, that was a good troll call. That was entertaining. Some of these online games, you're dealing with some very rude people because they're anonymous, right? This is the anonymity of the internet.
They're also 15-year-old boys.
A lot of them are, yeah,
I mean,
that's
come
true.
on, of course
they're 30 and they never really grew up. They're still in their mom's basement, which was what he was alluding to there. But yeah, when people have the anonymity factor on their side, they tend to say things that they wouldn't normally say in public, face to face.
Well, you can find out to some extent what people are really thinking, to some extent, not.
And it's a lot of times ugly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to defend Islam. I simply want to defend the truth. So I don't precisely I think that there's all kinds of great critiques.
There's a lot of lies about Islam, though,
against Islam and, frankly, Christianity and all these other religions. Sure. These aren't things that I want to defend.
A critique is one thing, but an out-and-out lie is another thing. And a critique is an opinion, right? Like, you've got an opinion about what these people believe. If what you're representing is the truth about what they believe and your honest opinion about it, that's valid. But if you're misrepresenting what they believe and then you have an opinion about that misrepresentation, that's, invalid from the word go.
Right. And I'd also say that there's a lot of stupid, dangerous people who are Muslims and a lot of stupid, dangerous people who are Christians.
Absolutely.
And a lot of stupid, dangerous people who are none of those things.
Sure.
So, I mean, if these, I just, of the things there are to fight about in the world, religion just seems like a crappy one, but it's often the go-to.
No doubt about it. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. Sharon is on the line in Springfield, Missouri, listening to KWTO. Hey, Sharon.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
Yes. The reason for my call, I've been having a lot of problems. It's been going on for years. It started out where I told my daughter I might do missionary work, but I didn't know yet for sure. And this was back in the early 90s. She said, She said, "You're not going to." She went to her pastor and told him. And then later on, I was homeless. And she said she found a place for me to stay. It was a shelter for women. I don't know what kind of a place it was, but anyway, I stayed there. I was attacked demonically. I was molested.
Hold on, you were attacked demonically?
Demonically, spiritually, sure. That place was demonic.
A demonic place for women. I want to hear more about this. Hang on, Sharon, in moments here. The toll-free number. The demon believers always have the craziest stuff to say here, so this ought to be interesting. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I'm not crazy, it's the demons. They're the ones doing all this. It's Free Talk Live.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did American men get so soft? Today's average red-blooded American man has less testosterone than his father, and his father has less testosterone than his father. Before we turn into a country of powder puffs, Force Factor is launching the Man Up America event. We want to send every man in America a complimentary bottle of the breakout supplement taking GNC by storm. Test X180 Ignite, loaded with free testosterone-boosting manliness. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SHAPE44 to 369-369. During workouts, Test X180 Ignite raises levels of free testosterone in your body to help build lean muscle. Plus, it helps burn fat, fuel sexual natural desire and improved performance. Now you can continue to feel like the real men that made this country great. Do yourself a favor. Do America a favor. Text SHAPE44 to 369-369 for your complimentary bottle. That's a complimentary bottle by texting SHAPE44 to 369-369.
We all know that Berkey Water Purification Systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey Water Filtration Systems. The Berkey Light Systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light System today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Just dial in toll free here. Our number is 855-450 free, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. Tonight in studio, it's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
All right, so we're going to continue here with your calls and thoughts. Certainly welcome about whatever's on your mind. Also, Mark, can you give our listeners an update on the orphanage that is being built right now in Jinja, Uganda, that you've been helping and our listeners have been helping raise money for?
Yeah, we're coming along nicely. There's a lot of – I've got some great updates. We're coming along nicely. The walls are sort of to a first-story height at this point. It is going to be a two-story building. It's just they got the bricks, right? They made the bricks. They're all – clay bricks and baked and that sort of thing. So the bricks were free. The mortar certainly costs money, as does the rebar, but they found it, as far as space-wise, it just made a lot more sense to go 2 stories. And there's 40 orphans that are currently sleeping in a room probably about the size of this studio, basically head to toe in the dark with no power currently. So they need a bit more space so that these kids can have, I don't know, beds. Right? Can you imagine these kids having beds and then being able to go to school in the morning because they weren't, somebody wasn't constantly. What if you get in the back of the room, you got to go pee?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Step over all these kids.
I mean, I've been in a prison cell designed for 2 with 4, and that was pretty tight conditions. You're talking about 10 times worse than that.
Right. And at this point, the walls are up to the first story level. We're still going to the second story level, putting the walls in. We still need to get money for concrete, mortar, and rebar. And then we're going to have to go to roofing and that sort of thing. Obviously, there's be plumbing and electric after that. We're doing quite well, and I'm delighted to announce that not only when you donate over at hope.freetalklive.com through the myriad of options that are available there, will your donation be matched by Virgil Viduva of Cell 411, but it'll also be matched by Anthony Diorio of decentral.ca and the creators of Jax, the Jax wallet. So
cool.
Get this. You donate $10, it becomes 30. Thanks for the people who have donated.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's huge. It's really great. So we're essentially, I only have to raise a third of the money now, and we're going to have this orphanage built, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be awesome. And my goal is that these people are going to have a place to sleep, and then they can build a life for themselves. You got to have a starting point. And that's all I'm hoping for. I'm not looking to, support everybody for ad infinitum here. They want to put together a garden, get some hens and some rabbits, and then they'll be in good shape. And those don't cost much.
So go to hope.freetalklive.com to help out with that. Let's go back to Sharon. She had just begun telling us, you're calling from Springfield, listening to KWTO. Sharon, you told us that you'd gone to a women's shelter of some sort. But there was, you believe there were demons present, and you had just begun telling us that. Go ahead.
No, I said I was attacked demonically.
Okay.
The guy is into witchcraft there.
Which guy?
And he took and molested me.
Oh, dear.
And if it hadn't been for the Lord waking me up in the middle of the night, I wouldn't have even known it. And he has done a lot of other women like that there, too. But because I told him that on him, he's doing everything he can to try and have me put in an asylum.
My goodness. Now, you're saying there's a man who's running the women's shelter, and that he's allegedly...
His name is, I don't know if he owns it or what, but it's in Lafayette, Indiana. The name of it is Trinity Missions. It's on Kasuth Street. His name
allegedly.
is Dan.
We don't know if any of those things are true, so we don't need to give out any names. So, I mean, if that's what happened, did you go to the police?
I let him know when I was here. I lived there, and I let him know what's going on. He came here at my church, was trying to cause me trouble. I told my pastor ahead of time what was going on, what I was going through. And after I told my pastor everything, I think it was about 2 weeks after that, he came at my church trying to cause trouble. I tried to fill out papers, it's called a parte, for restraining order against him.
An ex parte.
I didn't know his last name, and I couldn't get that when I was staying there at the time. The judge threw it out. Well, where I'm at right now. Yeah, listen, as God is my witness, I'm telling you the truth, mister. This is no picnic what I've been through.
I'm not saying that I don't mean to laugh at your circumstance. I was laughing at the fact that you have this man who is ostensibly molesting you, but the government can't do anything because they don't have his last name. That's the end of that case.
A restraining order against him.
Would it have been that hard to discover the name of the man who runs the women's shelter?
No, they would not give it out. His sister, Heather, wouldn't give it out. They've told some things on. He's trying to judge me on my sins. And
is it common for men to run women's shelters?
Yeah, it seems really
seems
odd.
unusual to me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know
How long
he
ago was
there.
this?
Oh, my gosh, you're talking about 96 or 97. This was years ago.
Now, do you believe that he's still there? Do you believe that? Well, okay, if he's still there, again, it wouldn't be hard, I wouldn't think, to discern this man's name. I mean, if he hasn't gone on the run and isn't, hiding, it would just seem to be a matter of asking around.
No, he works there at the place, and I can't find out what his last name is.
Yeah, I don't think you're trying very hard,
there.
honestly.
Yes, I did. They would not. His assistants would not give out his last name. She said they're not allowed to because there's other women trying to find out.
You can just follow him home if you want, and then find his address and do a reverse address lookup. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. You can hire a private investigator. There's all kinds of ways to find out information about people. But at this point, what good's it going to do? You've got 20 years now since those things allegedly happened to you. He's probably beyond the statute of limitations. And you have no evidence.
He's been here. He was at my church, trying to cause trouble.
What, 20 years ago?
With him. No, I mean now, just recently.
So he's still got it in for you? You think he's still like?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he's trying to have me put away.
Now, do you believe?
I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Well, what does he claim that you need to be put away for?
He said that I have a mental problem, and it's a lie, sir. They've got.
How do you know you don't have the demons?
I mean, people that have mental problems generally don't know they have mental problems, right?
Listen, I don't have none. He calls me. He accused me of having a mental problem. This happened. Listen.
I'll take your word for it.
They have been Medicare insurance. They have a guy that somebody took and signed me up illegally, saying that I couldn't make decisions for myself, which is a lie.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing. There's laws in every state. Thanks for the call tonight, Sharon. Good luck with your case. But it is frustrating, the involuntary commitment statutes. I mean, I understand why they exist, and there's definitely a strong argument that something like that should exist, because at a certain point, human beings cannot take care of themselves if they've gone too crazy. Like, there are crazy people who can take care of themselves, and then there are crazy people
like all of us
who are a danger to other human beings and a danger to themselves. And so that's why the involuntary commitment statutes exist. But there's no doubt that these things are abused all the time by, whether it be family members or loved ones who are close to somebody that decide they don't like that person and want to cause difficulty for them. They can certainly use those statutes to do that.
Yeah, it's a very difficult conundrum that people don't spend much time thinking about. But exactly when can one not consent to any variety of activities? I mean, I would say most of the world probably is bad money managers, right? But does that mean that they can't manage their own money? Are we going to take that away from them? That's what the government did when it created Social Security.
Right.
It basically said you can't handle saving for your old age, and the evidence is that a good percentage of the population cannot handle that. But
of course, the government can't handle it either. They spend the money; they don't actually save it. Right. So they just tax. Oh, yeah. The money comes from current taxes of Social Security payers.
Right. So we are going to take care of you, which means that they're going to take the money, put it in the general fund, spend it whenever they want, and then when presuming they're still around, and every government that has ever existed historically has at some point or another failed, right? I mean, except for the ones that are currently here, but there aren't that many. I think the U.S. has the oldest governing document in the world, making it the oldest government, which is only 230 years. So for a government to claim we're going to be here and we're going to take care of you into your old age, well, there's not a lot of
they die of old age soon. Yeah. The U.S. government as a concept. Hopefully the state dies a decrepit, painful death. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I don't wish pain on the individuals, but just the idea of the state. I hope it goes away sometime in our lifetime. Hour 3 coming up. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, Fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.87 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,022. Antiwar.com reports while the final official count is still not released, sources within the Iranian government say that President Hassan Rouhani has an insurmountable lead in Friday's presidential election and will easily secure victory over hardline candidate Ibrahim Raisi. The Iranian Interior Ministry has reported a far bigger than expected turnout in the election, estimated at over 70%. This led to some 5 hours of extension in the amount of times the polls were open to accommodate everyone. Over 40 million votes were cast. By the assessment of a source talking to Reuters, 37 million votes had been counted by Friday evening, with 21.6 million voting for Rouhani, meaning he's going to get a majority, and the only question remaining is how big of a majority he will manage when all is said and done. Rouhani's staff has claimed he won about 60% of the vote, and fellow reformist Mohammad Khatami released a picture of Rouhani making a victory sign on social media, bragging hope prevailed over isolation. Though polls had predicted the vote would be closer, signs are that the heavy turnout strongly favored the reformist and dealt a major blow to the hardliner. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports authorities are investigating radioactive material found on a worker's clothing 1 week after a tunnel collapse at a nuclear waste site in the state of Washington. Around 7 p.m. on Thursday, Washington River Protection Solutions, a government contractor in charge of all 177 underground storage tanks at the nuclear site, detected high radiation readings on a robotic device that 7 workers were pulling out of a tank. Then, contamination was also discovered on the clothing of one worker, on one shoe, on his shirt, and on his pants in the knee area. Using leak detection instruments, WRPS said it did not find liquid escaping from the tanks. On Saturday, the Hanford site confirmed the incident had occurred and employees had returned to normal work locations at their regular scheduled times. On May 9th, workers noticed that a section of a tunnel at the nuclear waste site had collapsed, creating a 20-foot hole. Workers filled the hole with soil. The tunnel was constructed during the Cold War to hold rail cars loaded with equipment contaminated during plutonium production. It had been sealed since the 1990s, according to the Department of Energy. Earlier Thursday, the governors of Washington and Oregon urged President Donald Trump, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, and White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney for enough budget money to accelerate the safe and efficient cleanup of nuclear waste at Hanford. The state of Washington has legally binding agreements with the Energy Department to treat, remove, or permanently store Hanford's waste. The cleanup of Hanford began in the 1980s, and the Hanford N reactor ceased producing plutonium in 1987. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports China killed or imprisoned 18 to 20 CIA sources from 2010 to 2012, hobbling U.S. spying operations in a massive intelligence breach whose origin has not been identified, according to a New York Times report on Saturday. The New York Times reported, citing current and former U.S. officials, that investigators remain divided over whether there was a spy within the CIA who betrayed the sources or whether the Chinese hacked the CIA's covert communications system. The New York Times reported the Chinese killed at least a dozen people providing information to the CIA from 2010 through 2012, dismantling a network that was years in the making. One person was shot and killed in front of a government building in China, according to 3 officials speaking to the Times, saying that was designed as a message to others about working with Washington. The CIA declined comment on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following this afternoon's arrest of Congress on the charge of over 23 million counts of manslaughter, our reporter spoke to Mark Westnick from Savannah, Georgia, just one of the many Americans that has lost a loved one due to the legislative branch's criminal negligence.
Because of Congress, my 23-year-old son died 2 years ago in Afghanistan. My nephew, he lost his leg in Iraq in 2006, and my brother died in Vietnam in 1969. Congress killed my family.
Defense attorneys for the now incarcerated 538-member group have dismissed the claims made by Westnick and other victims and released a statement saying their client has been, quote, a pillar of the national community for over 200 years and completely innocent of any and all wrongdoing. Keep checking theonion.com for more as this story develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of this live Sunday edition of the program. You can bring up anything you want. Economics in one lesson if we get a chance, but the phones are blowing up. There's maybe room for you if you get on the lines right now at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
Let's go back to the phones, back to the fun. We'll start out with Michael, listening in Boston online. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey,
I have a question. Only for the man who hasn't spoken. He's wearing a blue shirt. He's got a beard.
Well, he's spoken, but
He's Jonny Ray.
Not
He's
as much.
He's a very quiet, thoughtful man, and when he speaks, it's always worth listening to.
I'm scared now.
Hey, Jonny Ray. Hey, I was wondering, are you reading the comment section in the YouTube?
No, I am not.
Oh God, I can only imagine. Why? What are they saying?
Well, they're calling him a dirty kike.
That's not a very nice. That's not a very nice thing to say.
I know, it's not nice at all.
Yeah, in fact, our board
I was
operator just
wondering if
dropped
it's
that
true.
one, so you probably.
Apparently, that racial slur isn't allowed on the air, so we're going to have to let you
Is
go.
it true,
Go.
Mr.?
I'm gonna get rid of him.
If it's still building, and if he decides to do it again.
Well, he only dropped half the dump, so
okay.
Usually get to you can drop twice basically, but anyway.
But should I tell them whether or not I'm Jewish? Should I tell the YouTubers?
I kind of think it's irrelevant.
Well, I can tell you, you're
don't
not
think
dirty.
It's true, do
you
you
seem to be very clean to me. I mean, you're a janitor by trade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am dirty.
Are you?
But am I the K word? Maybe so, maybe not.
You look clean to me, Johnny Ray.
Tune in next week.
Johnny Ray reveals his ethnicity.
If the listeners could smell me, they would know how dirty I am.
So far, the crank
read my
callers
mind.
tonight are one for two? There's been one decent one and two not so.
Yeah,
so
I
good.
mean, if you're gonna do prank calls, and prank calls are fine here on Free Talk Live. Curse words, we've got a dump button. This is a professional radio program, people. We have the technology to dump what you say.
Maybe they're just really excited that the dozens of internet listeners that we have live were able to hear what they're saying.
I said a racial slur on the radio. It's not funny. So be funny. Be interesting. Be compelling.
Or get dumped.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the phones here. Dana is on the line in Michigan listening to WTKG. Hello, Dana.
Hi. Okay, guys, I'm going to do this from an academic standpoint, because if you talk to a Muslim, this is about the Islam issue, because I actually studied in this, and this was my specialty in college. Okay, so I have found probably just as many sources to say that Muhammad's last and favorite, it was his last, favorite, and youngest wife was 9 years old.
Yeah, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but there is a lot of evidence that that's not the case. But regardless,
it could be.
It could be true. Yeah.
Okay. So the sources I found, the ones that you guys were referring to were, if they were done by academics, I did find things that said she was a teenager, but they were from Muslim sources. And so I discounted those immediately, because if you can't show a picture of Muhammad without death and torture and then death, then you're surely not going to say anything against him. And because in today's society, saying that taking a child bride is kind of sick, it's not acceptable in today's society, although things were done differently back then.
That's what they do out in the... I mean, you're right. Overall, it's not acceptable, but it's certainly still practiced in the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ. Hold on. It's certainly still practiced in the Fundamentalist Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church. So, I mean, that happens.
I understand that, but we're not talking about that. What I'm saying is the Muslim sources are going to do things to only glorify their prophet. Okay, so the other half that I found said she was 6 years old, but he did not have sexual relations with her until she was 9. So I think that's where that 9 keeps popping up, because I found good, solid sources that say she was 6.
But it said the betrothal lasted for 5 years. So if it was 5 years, then they were betrothed when she was 6.
It depends where you look.
Right.
It depends.
Right. That's the difficulty here. And I understand why you would be taking outside sources, Dana, but do you take outside sources when you discuss Christianity? Do you take only outside sources?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I don't just do Christian sources, because I'm more interested in not only the truth, but the truth, it means historical accuracy. Now, nobody can actually say for sure, but when you've got, and I don't trust all historians either, because politics has infested every single walk of life. You can hardly get the truth out of anything. So I'm telling you, this is years and years of research. Okay, that being said, let me share some other things with you. One of you guys, and I think it was Mark, and I hope not, because I'll be gravely disappointed. Not that I would be not disappointed in the other two, but you said that God, you said two things that really pissed me off. God had sex with Mary, and also it was said she was knocked up. Mary was not knocked up. Jesus Christ was conceived through the Holy Spirit.
Well, the Holy Spirit's
is that what
God,
they're calling
right?
it now?
But the Holy Spirit's God, right?
Even can I finish? Even Muslims accept the virgin birth. That means that she was a virgin when she had not only conceived Christ, but Muslims, just like Christians, believe that when he was born, she was still a virgin. And that was conceived through the Holy Spirit. And if you guys believe in
It's
God,
okay
and
when
even
God
if you
does it.
don't, if the belief
I believe
is
in God.
that God is all-knowing and all-powerful, God can do anything. And it was the Father that sent the Son, but it was the Holy Spirit that he was conceived. There was no sex going on.
We didn't say there was sex going on.
Well, okay, so I should have said that God impregnated Mary when she was 11?
Knocked up is slang that means impregnate.
Knocked up is, in this case, it's more than slang. It's actually blasphemy, even against
the
Virgin.
I don't mind that at all. Frankly, I'm all for blasphemy, especially blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, because I want to prove as best I can that book is just nonsense. I mean,
well, I'll tell you what I have found. I got to tell you guys, the best reads that you'll ever have, and I've talked to some of these guys on national radio programs, is you get these scientists and most scientists to this day are atheists. There is a group of agnostics, and you can probably count on 10 fingers and toes how many are Christians. But the best reads you guys will have for proof against the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the virgin birth, any of this, is read these scientists who were atheists, who set out, their sole purpose was to disprove God's existence. And they ended up, some are on the road to become Christians, some became Christians, and some are saying, well, I'm still not a Christian, or maybe not on the fence of it yet, but there is no explanation for the intricacies of the human brain and our workings to justify that a higher power was not involved in the creation of humanity.
You can't prove that God doesn't exist. That's impossible.
Well, I wouldn't even try, Dana. I'm a believer in God. I just don't believe in the Bible, and those are two different things. I mean, the Bible is just another book.
No. Actually, let me propose this to you, Mark. If you believe in God, and you believe that, all that comes with God, that he's all-knowing, all-powerful, the Alpha, the Omega, always was and always will be.
I'm not entirely sure on that.
Why is it so hard? And this is the question I ask, and I'm not doing this to trick you, like trying to be this religious, holy roller and try to trick you and get you on my side. I'm doing air quotes, but this isn't about sides.
What's the
it's
question?
About truth. So if you believe that, then how hard is it to believe that the Holy Spirit could put Jesus inside the womb of Mary?
Thank you for the call tonight.
I didn't claim the Holy Spirit didn't do that.
That's exactly what you said.
I said that the Holy Spirit impregnated Mary at 11.
Knocked up is slang that means to impregnate.
Right. So
it doesn't necessarily, obviously...
Any indictment against Muhammad should be made against the Holy Spirit if this is the case.
Yeah. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. It's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the most unique online destination in the Bitcoin universe. Buying Bitcoin? Do it here. Want to speak your mind to other Bitcoin users? Our forum is always open and censorship-free at forum.bitcoin.com. There's no bigger Bitcoin believers than the Bitcoin.com team. That's why this site is a one-stop shop for everything you need to get into Bitcoin life. You can also play games at games.bitcoin.com. Learn more at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Everyone has something in their lives or just about themselves that they want to change, from trying to lose weight to becoming more motivated at work. Change is difficult, but the good news is no matter what, you don't have to go through it alone. Hypnotherapy can help you remove negative subconscious thoughts that keep you from achieving your goals. Never rely on just willpower again. Contact us at afterhourshypnotherapy.com today for your free consultation, or contact Melvin Marsh at 678-658-8483.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-314-7417. 800-314-7417. That's 800-314-7417.
If you're looking for work, there's a piece of paper more important than your resume. It's the cover letter attached if you're snail mailing, or the email to which you attach your resume. Make it 4 short paragraphs. Paragraph 1, say that you're applying for work. The person you're sending to gets a ton of mail about all sorts of things. If you have a password, that's your first sentence. Tom Nelson tells me you and I should meet. Paragraph 2, what you do and how that relates to the opening. Be as specific as possible. Paragraph 3, why you want this particular job. I'm originally from Boston, so I know the market well. I have family and friends in the area, so this would be a homecoming for me. Paragraph 4, unless the job posting stipulates no calls, and I will call you to follow up. Thank you in advance for your time. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll free. You can bring up anything you want. Live Sunday edition of the show. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight with you, it's Ian.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Also, you can, of course, bring up anything. I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. They are of the opinion that the current Bitcoin core development team is not taking satisfactory steps to ensure the growth and advancement of Bitcoin in accordance with Satoshi's vision. As community efforts to resolve these problems have failed, it's necessary to resolve them with a different approach. By using subreddit r/BTC instead of r/Bitcoin and running Bitcoin Unlimited, you're casting a vote against the current development team. You can learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. As we go back to the phones, to the fun, let's talk to David. He's in France, watching us on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Hello, David.
Hello.
Hello, you're on the air.
Okay, so first of all, I want to react about the 3 points you made a little bit early. But first, imagine my shock when you compare Aisha, the wife of the prophet, to Romeo and Juliet, because Romeo and Juliet is just a play, it's not reality, and Islam is a religion that billions of people around the world following. So
are you saying that Romeo and Juliet
example.
wasn't based off of the prevailing norms at the time, that being that young females were being married off and having children at ages, as young as 12, 13, 14 years old?
Yes, but it's still a play by Shakespeare. It's not like the same thing that a religious book. It's not the same thing, basically. And
well, we didn't say it was the
She
same
was
thing.
not
We didn't
posting.
compare it in a way that suggested it was the same thing. We were comparing that, they have in different time frames in human history, people have different beliefs as far as what's acceptable regarding marriage and consummating marriages.
Age of consent and those sorts of things.
So, if I'm following your point, you're basically saying if it was 1,000 years ago normal to have sex with a 5-year-old girl, you don't see anything wrong about that?
We didn't say that there was nothing wrong with it. We didn't say that at all.
I thought it was, first off, I don't know that happened. That sounds like an exaggeration. But, you know, I have conflicting facts here, right? Like, on one hand, people say this happened. On the other hand, people say this didn't happen. And then what I asked is this the most important, the most prescient, and the most crushing critique of Islam you can come up with? Is it?
Yes, but you can't compare basically Mohammed. You can't compare basically Mohammed with a prophet and basically a human being as God, because God in Christianity, some entities is like divine, you know, it's not the same thing. It's not comparable because it's like a human.
Oh, now he's saying that you can't compare what Muhammad did to God knocking up Mary. That's what you're saying.
Are you saying it's acceptable to knock up an 11-year-old to have your savior?
Mary was not 11. She was 15. If you look at the Bible and the look.
All I'm doing is reading the internet, 15. Man.
Well, most of the sources I've seen said she was 12. But again, this is the same thing that the Muslims are running into.
That's what you're doing right now. You're saying, no, she wasn't 11. She was 15.
No,
but if
which, of course, by the way, many people today, David, I'm going to put you on hold for a moment here. Many people today, if you said she was 15, would say that's a horrible crime. She can't consent.
Do math. That means that she had sex. The Holy Spirit impregnated her
at 14.
At 14. Yeah. Okay, so.
Yeah, many people would say that would make the Holy Spirit a pedophile, which, of course, is an inaccurate term, but that's what they would say. They would threaten to string him up.
Well, if Mary's a virgin, then the Holy Spirit didn't have sex with her.
No one said that the Holy Spirit did.
Fine. There wasn't a galactic god penis, but she became pregnant. So I should use the term impregnation.
Right.
And that happens every other time.
And there's nothing unwholesome about that because there's no, fleshy members involved.
Right. It's okay as long as there's not a fleshy member.
David, go ahead.
Okay, so my second point was when basically Mark said a little bit early that because it was a long time ago, it was not really important and basically nothing matters because it was a long time ago. You said that, Mark.
Yeah, that's
right?
kind of how I feel. It's like it has become irrelevant to me.
Okay, do you think it should be the same thing for all historical stuff like slavery, the Holocaust, and all that stuff, or just religious stuff?
I think that it is that way. I'm not saying it should be that way. I think that it is that way. The Mongols killed far more people than the Nazis did, but we could think
absolutely. I agree on that.
Right. So there you go. I mean, that's the reality. Is the Mongols were far more horrid. Genghis Khan was far more horrid than Hitler was. But whatever.
Yeah, Genghis Khan was actually out there raping and pillaging and
like doing the actual raping and pillaging himself.
Hitler was like, shut up in some sort of place where no one could get to him, right? Didn't he end up taking his own life at the very end?
I agree on what you're saying, Mark. But do you see the Mongol blaming the Chinese or the Chinese blaming the Mongol? No, because actually nowadays on the current societies, it as example black people asking reparation for white people, or you have the Jewish people asking reparation for basically Germany, and it's basically the two only genocide or crimes against humanity, or the way you want to call it, that only the two events in the world basically asking for reparation. We don't do that in Europe. We don't do that in any other event. The Armenian with the genocide, no one talk about that. You see what I mean?
Well, the Armenians still talk about the genocide. They want to make sure that the Turks take responsibility for it.
But do they talk about reparations? I think that's what David was saying.
I think that, I think reparations are an extraordinarily problematic conversation because everybody can look at their history and say, these people did this to me and that sort of thing. So it turns out I'm largely Western European as far as ethnicity goes. Should I be able to go after the ruling classes, the people who are the descendants of ruling classes of Europe, for some kind of payment because my people weren't particularly rich or forced to work on farms as serfs or whatever it was that they were forced to do? It seems absolutely ridiculous. It's slavery. Serfdom is a form of slavery. I'm sure that some of my ancestors came across as indentured servants, and indentured servants historically were treated pretty bad in the United States. What about that? Okay, so I've got some Ethiopian Jew in my lineage. I'm sure that that makes me partially black. Do I have to pay? It's all very bizarre when you start talking about reparations. I think it's just too muddy.
Yeah, I agree with you totally on that, and that's why basically I'm saying it's like no one should, like you said, ask for reparation, and we should go forward and not backward. Do you agree with me on that?
I'm with you on that one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, David, for your call tonight.
People should face consequences for their actions, not who they
directly,
are, what they do.
But if those people who made those actions are dead now, then you can't make that right anymore.
No, that's not their actions.
Yep.
You should have to pay for every slave you've enslaved, Johnny.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live continues. You can join us here on the radio.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Free Talk Live.
I'm a supporter of law enforcement, and my boyfriend's a police officer.
What if there was a law passed that made cigarettes illegal? Would you also support your boyfriend going and raiding people's homes and businesses because they had some black market cigarettes?
Enforce laws if people are smoking cigarettes and they're not supposed to be?
Yeah.
Would he enforce them?
Yes.
Yes, he would.
Right, that's the problem. It's his job.
Can I go to a more extreme example then, Lindsay? What if it was like Nazi Germany in 1939 and Jews were illegal? Would your boyfriend go around and grab them and throw them into concentration camps because it was the law?
If it was his job, he would do it.
God.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's not a personal issue. If it's his job,
personal.
Doing something wrong is doing something wrong whether you've got the law on your side or not, ma'am.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Join us right here on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
Me, Johnny Ray.
And me, Mark.
And we've got Skype. So Skype on in here at username LRN.FM. And if you've got online shopping to take care of, you can get it taken care of fast by going to shop.freetalklive.com. You enter Amazon through the links you'll find there. There's Amazon US, Amazon Canada, Amazon UK. You just click on the right Amazon for you and get your shopping taken care of. And Free Talk Live will benefit. There was the one rare occasion that I actually used Amazon directly this last week. Normally I use SaveItPurse.com because I've got Bitcoin and I would like to spend that and save like 20%. That's how I get almost everything through Amazon. But every now and then, maybe like once a year, there'll be some reason why I'll go through shop.freetalklive.com where I can't spend my Bitcoin. And the only reason I would do that is if I can't get a better deal. And it's very rare that that happens. But they had something called a lightning deal on Amazon recently, and I broke a pair of headphones that I needed to replace, like the in-ear ones, not the big ones that you see us on with the cameras here. So that like the in-ear buds. So anyway, I snapped the connector off of one of those. I'm like, all right, I need to get another pair of headphones. Went and looked them up. I was getting ready to put the URL into SaveItPurse.com so I could save 20%. And the lightning deal thing was like a limited time window. It was like if you order now within the next hour, you get it at 70% off or something like that. So there would have been I tried to put that on a wish list, and it just doesn't work that way with the lightning deal. So in that case, I did go ahead and go through shop.freetalklive.com, just went through the regular Amazon buying experience. And so it was like the first time in quite a while that I hadn't used SaveItPurse.com. So if you've got Bitcoin, you've got cryptocurrency, and you want to save big time on Amazon purchases, go to Save It Purse, saveatpurse.com, and do that through them. You'll save big time. There's I just did that actually with a weed whacker. The old weed whacker that I had here is it's done for. It's broken after more than a decade of
you use a gas
service.
one or
it's gas. Yeah,
it's a gas one that you're using. Oh.
Yeah. Well, not anymore because it's broken. But so I went online to go and look at options, and I found an affordable. I'm gonna try a battery operated one just because see how that works. And it was cheap through Amazon, but even cheaper through SaveItPurse.com. I saved 20% on that. So why not? Why not do that? SaveATPurse.com. If you don't have cryptocurrency, then just go to shop.freetalklive.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts here on the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, we go to Shia on the line in Pennsylvania, watching on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Hello, Shia. Hello.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Hey, there's a little lag on my TV between you guys and YouTube.
That's all right.
Hello?
Here you are. You're on the air.
Am I on?
You are on the radio.
I was just playing with my fidget spinner. I was zoning out there for a minute. Yeah, I was watching. I was on hold for a while, so I think we got a little off topic. But I was getting kind of triggered about you guys talking about defending pedophilia in any form. And
who was defending that?
It sounded like you guys were defending Muhammad for marrying marrying that wife of his.
No, I don't think you were listening very closely. What we were saying was
pretty close.
No, I don't think you were, because what we were saying was that people disagree on the age at which Muhammad's young wife was. Some people say she was as young as 9. Others say she was as young as 19. And there's, historical evidence to back up a lot of those claims. And then what Mark had said was that times were different then, even if she was, pretty young. Times were different then. That's not defending the act. That's just saying that in a different time, people looked at things differently. Do you think that's not true?
Well, I'm also saying people disagree on whether the Holocaust happened. Does that mean it didn't happen either?
Well, I think we have more evidence that the Holocaust.
I think there's a lot of evidence saying that the Holocaust didn't happen. I've read some of it.
Oh, so you're one of those?
Well, okay. I've read something that's convincing.
I'm just reiterating your point that you just made.
No,
that's not what we made.
Look,
it's not our point.
It's much more difficult to ascertain what occurred 1,500 years ago than it is to ascertain what occurred 70 years ago. There's photographic information about the Holocaust. There is none about this Muhammad and Aisha characters.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't exactly have cameras back then. But
I know! That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right. To say that we don't know something isn't to defend what happened. You understand that, right?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm
really
sorry you don't understand.
Were you there when the Holocaust happened?
Were you there when Muhammad had a wife?
I don't know. I could have been in a past life.
Thank you for the call tonight. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. As we continue, we go to...
Apparently, if I don't toe the particular line of some of these people on Muhammad, then I am endorsing it. I think those religions are dumb. Yeah. All right? That's my statement.
This ought to be a good call. Someone calling themselves Asian, calling from Philadelphia, also watching on YouTube. You're on Free Talk Live.
No, you got my name wrong.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
It's Aslan, like the lion.
Can you spell that?
It's the
Aslan.
Yeah, the character from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
It was a parable of Jesus, basically.
Gotcha.
Well, it means lion. It's Chechen name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I didn't look close enough here. The letter was the letter L looked like an I to me from the distance here. So apologize about that. Go ahead, Aslan.
Okay, you were talking Islam. I was born in Chechnya, and I was Muslim most of my life, but I went away from church. Now I can't go back. I have family in Grozny, and I can't go back because I probably would be killed.
Okay.
And this is very serious.
I believe you.
But you say you were in jail and you read Quran.
I did, yeah.
And you read front to back, and you believe this?
No. Just because you read a book doesn't mean you believe it.
But you sound to me like you were defending.
I will defend when people tell, possible lies about something. I will, if I know something to be different, if I know something to be contrary to what the claim is being made, I will state the contrary claim. I don't know what the truth is about what happened back then because I wasn't there.
If somebody called into this show and said that Jesus had sex with a 9-year-old and it said so in the Bible, I would say that that was an inaccurate statement because I have read the Bible all the way through multiple times.
Well, the Quran, I don't think talks about, I don't recall. I mean, it's been 6 years or whatever, but I don't think that was addressed in the Quran.
I'm just saying
that's the reason why I'm calling, because I've studied Quran my whole life, and it does say that Muhammad took Aisha, his wife, at a very young age.
Well, there's all kinds of different evidence about there at the age at which she was taken as his wife, and some people say it was as old as 19. And I linked to an article with mountains of citations in it, and anybody who really wants to delve into all of these allegations about how old his wife was certainly can spend all kinds of time doing that.
But it's not going to change anything.
I tell you, I grew up in Muslim culture. I learned this from a very young age, and she was 9 lunar years old.
Okay.
Is what we learned.
Well, thank you for your opinion, but obviously people within that culture have different opinions. Okay. Well, that's your opinion, and there are other people who are in that culture who have different opinions. Thank you for the call tonight, Aslan. I appreciate it. Lots of people really harping on this particular issue here tonight as though they know something.
Very important to them.
Yeah, as though they know something about what happened in the past.
I I just keep on hearkening back that these things happened historically. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that
acknowledging that it happened.
It doesn't run my life. I don't, care very much.
I don't base my opinion about a religion because of what one of its adherents or its, originator might have done at some point in the past.
Yeah, I mean, so Alexander the Great was buggered by philosophers. Okay. So King Leonidas was probably the most courageous and deadly gay man the world's ever seen. Okay. He probably had sex with people who were below the age of 10, too. Boys below the age of 10.
855 450 free, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone. Because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-768-3138. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now. 1-800-768-3138. That's 1-800-768-3138.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Uncertainty has become the talking point when it comes to financial markets. One thing is becoming certain: safe haven assets. Hard assets are now becoming the choice of informed investors. The most recognized and valued hard asset is gold. The highest performing asset this year is gold. Trust gold to protect and grow your IRA or 401k. Central banks and billionaires are doing the same thing. Choose a more stable asset that has tremendous upside potential. As these uncertain times threaten the markets, your decision to reduce your exposure to these markets before further negative effects to your portfolio would be well timed. Call 1-800-GOLD-IRA to transfer your existing IRA into an actual physical gold and silver IRA. American Bullion is the pioneer of gold IRAs. They handle all the details for you. Call 1-800-GOLD-IRA to get prepared. Start protecting and growing your IRA and 401k before the next crash. American Bullion. 1-800-GOLD-IRA.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here, but maybe enough time for you if you get on the line now at 855-450-FREE, like Freedom, 855-450-3733. The Free Talk Live AMP program, great way to get behind the show for $5 a month and help us get Free Talk Live on the radio in more markets. We've got another station coming on board soon. I can't say where that is, but I'm excited, as always, to bring new listeners to expose them to the ideas of freedom. The ideas of peace and liberty is what we talk about on a nightly basis here on Free Talk Live. They're important ideas, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to bring it to over 160 great radio stations around the country. We could have, a couple hundred more. It's possible, but we do need to have money with which to market Free Talk Live, and we're going to bring some change to the AMP program within the next few weeks. I've been unable to get to the video editing that I've been wanting to do over the last several days, so be patient with me. I've got a lot on my plate here, but when I get to it, we're going to roll out some changes to the Free Talk Live AMP program and the LRN satellite channels, and we'll talk more about that in the future. But meanwhile, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com and you can get signed up there, as a number of people did this week. Thank you to everybody who has done that. And as I said earlier, I'm still getting caught up on those, processing through those signups, because even though we have an automated system on the website, I always like to just kind of oversee things and send out thank you notes and things like that. So you go to amp.freetalklive.com. You'll get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, and more. You go to amp.freetalklive.com. Credit card, PayPal, and we take Bitcoin at amp.freetalklive.com. To the phones, to your calls and thoughts. Scott is on the line in Massachusetts, listening to WBNW in the Boston-Concord, Mass area. Go ahead, Scott.
Good evening. I haven't heard you in a long time. You may remember me as Scott the Bigot.
It is you. People have been.
It is. I've been living under the grid, and I was away from. But you didn't forget me, I hope.
No. In fact, people have been asking about you for years. What happened to Scott the Bigot?
Yeah.
I saw Scott in Massachusetts on the call screening software, and I said to you, Mark, what did I say to you during the break?
You said you're going to him first.
And I said this could be him. I said this could be Scott.
Well, I haven't changed, gentlemen, and I want to let you know. I know you got limited time.
Here, I want to let you know this before you go on. The phone that you're on right now, it doesn't sound that great. Can you maybe back away from it from maybe 2 inches?
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's better. Now, the last time we talked to you, I think it was darn close to the last time we talked to you. Your mother came on the line, and for listeners that don't know, this is Scott the Bigot. He is a longtime caller, former caller of the show, called pretty regularly off and on. For a few years, and then, like you said, you just disappeared. Did it have anything to do with your mother catching you on the line and chewing you out on the air?
I got tired of radio, but now that Trump's in office, it's right my time again. And America's in deplorable condition. I don't know where to begin. I'll just say that we have a Zionist-occupied government. If people wondering what's going on in America,
same old talking points,
and they don't yes, but it's true. It hasn't changed.
So wait, are you saying that? Hold on. So first of all, what is a Zionist? And are you saying that Donald Trump is a Zionist?
No, I'm saying that America, he can't stop it himself. America's essentially what I mean is America's controlled by the Jews. When I mean by the Jews, they control Wall Street, they control Hollywood.
Do they control Donald Trump?
Yes. Any president would be controlled by the Jews because, again, we have a Zionist-occupied government, meaning that, and it's proven true with Charles Schumer and Adam Schiff and Dianne Feinstein, especially George Soros. George Soros is the evil ringleader, the puppet master, if you will, and he's behind all of this. For people that aren't familiar with George Soros, he made billions manipulating the currency of Great Britain. Vladimir Putin threw him out of Russia because he was trying to manipulate their currency. And most recently, he got Ann Coulter thrown out of Berkeley because Bill Ayers is his Gentile front, meaning Bill Ayers works for George Soros, and George Soros is an international Jewish banker, and also he is also a fifth columnist, a communist. So I want to leave you callers with a thought. America's in the state it's in because of three forces that it's working against it: international Jewish finance, international Jewish communism, and international Jewish Zionism. Those are the three forces that are working against America. And America is doomed as a nation.
It doesn't seem like the Zionists are very powerful. I mean, they only have a tiny little country down there. What's the big deal?
This is the big deal. Israel is a clearinghouse, an international clearinghouse. For the Rothschilds, for all Jewish activity in the world. And there are very small number, as you said.
What are they
but
clearing?
Tremendous. You need to understand. You need to read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which will explain. I need hours to explain it. But to answer your question, it's called the Jewish question. The Jewish question means, how did the Jews have such power? How did they get there? What did they do there?
Now, you've missed out recently, Scott. We've had a bunch of calls tonight from some similarly bigoted people, but unlike them, I'm actually relieved to hear from you, because at the very least, you don't say the F word or some other words that we would have to dump on the air as we have with some of these other callers tonight. So I want to, even though I still find your viewpoint to be despicable and detestable, I still want to welcome you back to Free Talk Live. I am glad to hear from you again.
Opinions are welcome, no matter how abhorrent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to call back, because I know a lot of our listeners did miss you.
I have to laugh because I thought I was forgotten.
No, not at all. Who could forget Scott the Bigot? I mean, there's some classic.
You were a dedicated caller. That's for sure.
Well, there's some classic callers to Free Talk Live that I think will always be remembered, including remember Paula, who was in the trailer park years ago.
Who was the master sergeant that would call in and from the junkyard?
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Walt from Kansas City.
Yep.
Was So there's some of them that are really memorable characters, all the way back to Sanjay from our local days when we were on in Sarasota. The fake call from the guy who was running a Quickie Mart kind of thing. Really, great accent. And of course, the big question about Scott the Bigot has been: is he for real? That's always been one of the big questions among our listeners: is Scott actually who he portends to be, or is this all a big put on?
No, it's not.
I've always believed you're for real. I've always believed that about you.
I look at America. I know you have limited time. I look at America, and I hate what I see.
Here's what I want you to do. Do you have the internet?
I don't use a computer.
You don't use a computer. How do you?
No, I don't want
one.
one.
Live? How do you? What do you do?
Oh, I function very well.
Okay, so I want to know if you can call on a different phone. Is the reason I'm asking, because the one that you're on, even though you've backed away from it, it's still kind of cruddy, and it's going to get, if you call back on that same phone. Maybe you could use your mom's extension. Are you still at mom's house?
I knew you were going to say that. No, my mom's not feeling very well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pick on on her.
No, I know what you think. I live in a cellar with a tinfoil hat.
No, I didn't think you wore a tinfoil hat. We do have listeners.
I can assure you, gentlemen, that I have all my mental faculties. I'm as sane, if not more sane. If anything is insane, it's our world is insane. Our world is one giant nut house. This country
so you don't have
is one giant nut house.
You're on a landline? You're not calling on a cell phone?
I'm on a landline, regular telephone.
You don't have a cell phone?
This is a cheapy Walmart telephone.
I don't even use a cell phone, and you know why? Because when I'm out somewhere, I don't want to be bothered with anyone. I just want to be left alone.
I want to ask you to maybe we'll have you call the studio line or something next time. The alternate line, if you wanted to call in, maybe that would clear the lineup. It's not intolerable, but it's also not great either. Hey, Scott, good to hear from you, even though I disagree with pretty much everything that comes out of your mouth.
And I want to leave one fast thought before all your your listeners. If they want to understand the craziness in America, and they do not understand, and they're desperately looking for an answer, they can find everything they're looking for in the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. The Jews claim it's a forgery, but I can assure you it's absolutely authentic.
Thank you for the call, Scott. It's sort of good to hear from you. I feel mostly positive about that, even though it was reprehensible. Thank you for the call. So, yeah, there he is. He's back. He's okay. He's still out there. Still sounds just like he did, 5 years ago or whenever the hell it was.
Do you think bringing him on just sort of represented the folks that were in the YouTube comments today?
To represent what?
Do you think bringing him on?
Yeah, it was emblematic of everything.
The culmination. He was the culmination.
The
apotheosis.
They're accusing us of being Jewish in the YouTube things there, as though any of us, anybody here
no,
raised
it's confirmed.
Jewish?
You two, 2/3 confirmed Jewish, right? And so I assume
they
that's
said
you two.
2/3. I don't know which 2/3.
Okay.
Didn't they say you were Jewish?
I'm not
Ray?
disclosing my heritage
right.
until next week.
You refuse to do that till next week. I can say that I was raised raised Protestant. I did take a DNA test, and it came out that there was one Jew drop of blood in there, basically.
I knew it.
A Zionist.
Knew it! Yeah, and I don't know what that means because I don't know anything about any Zionist, whatever. Don't care anything about that stuff. But, if you're really busy worrying about what somebody's religion is, you're just a nut.
All right. If you didn't get on tonight, no worries. Call tomorrow night. We're on live, as always, 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. You can join us online in the meantime between now and then over at freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, May 21st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.87 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,022. And Howard.com reports while the final official count is still not released, sources within the Iranian government say that President Hassan Rouhani has an insurmountable lead in Friday's presidential election and will easily secure victory over hardline candidate Ibrahim Raisi. The Iranian Interior Ministry has reported a far bigger than expected turnout in the election, estimated at over 70%. This led to some 5 hours of extension in the amount of times the polls were open to accommodate everyone. Over 40 million votes were cast. By the assessment of a source talking to Reuters, 37 million votes had been counted by Friday evening, with 21.6 million voting for Rouhani, meaning he's going to get a majority, and the only question remaining is how big of a majority he will manage when all is said and done. Rouhani's staff has claimed he won about 60% of the vote, and fellow reformist Mohammad Khatami released a picture of Rouhani making a victory sign on social media, bragging hope prevailed over isolation. Though polls had predicted the vote would be closer, signs are that the heavy turnout strongly favored the reformist and dealt a major blow to the hardliner. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports authorities are investigating radioactive material found on a worker's clothing 1 week after a tunnel collapse at a nuclear waste site in the state of Washington. Around 7 p.m. on Thursday, Washington River Protection Solutions, a government contractor in charge of all 177 underground storage tanks at the nuclear site, detected high radiation readings on a robotic device that 7 workers were pulling out of a tank. Then, contamination was also discovered on the clothing of one worker, on one shoe, on his shirt, and on his pants in the knee area. Using leak detection instruments, WRPS said it did not find the liquid escaping from the tanks. On Saturday, the Hanford site confirmed the incident had occurred and employees had returned to normal work locations at their regular scheduled times. On May 9th, workers noticed that a section of a tunnel at the nuclear waste site had collapsed, creating a 20-foot hole. Workers filled the hole with soil. The tunnel was constructed during the Cold War to hold rail cars loaded with equipment contaminated during plutonium production. It had been sealed since the 1990s, according to the Department of Energy. Earlier Thursday, the governors of Washington and Oregon urged President Donald Trump, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, and White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney for enough budget money to accelerate the safe and efficient cleanup of nuclear waste at Hanford. The state of Washington has legally binding agreements with the Energy Department to treat, remove, or permanently store Hanford's waste. The cleanup of Hanford began in the 1980s, and the Hanford N reactor ceased producing plutonium in 1987. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports China killed or imprisoned 18 to 20 CIA sources from 2010 to 2012, hobbling U.S. spying operations in a massive intelligence breach whose origin has not been identified, according to a New York Times report on Saturday. The New York Times reported, citing current and former U.S. officials, that investigators remain divided over whether there was a spy within the CIA who betrayed the sources or whether the Chinese hacked the CIA's covert communications system. The New York Times reported the Chinese killed at least a dozen people providing information to the CIA from 2010 through 2012, dismantling a network that was years in the making. One person was shot and killed in front of a government building in China, according to 3 officials speaking to the Times, saying that was designed as a message to others about working with Washington. The CIA declined comment on Saturday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After months of struggling to find their footing, it looks like the GOP has finally found an effective spokesman. Since Republican leaders unveiled the reanimated corpse of Ronald Reagan at a fundraising event last week, the undead former president has quickly emerged as the new face of the Republican Party. Since Reagan was brought back from the grave by GOP leaders in a top-secret $2.2 million reanimation project, poll data shows Reagan with a higher favorability rating than all other high-profile Republicans combined.
The voters know Reagan. They trust Reagan. When he moans at them, they're going to listen.
There's questions as to whether he still has capacity for thought, and he does eat people, but big picture, he's the best option they have right now.
And appeared in a series of GOP ads promoting the Republican Party's traditional values.
Congress and the president say they're trying to help fix our country's economy. Ronald Reagan and the Republican Party have the right idea for America's future.
This is the Onion News Network.
medicinal cannabis. What is it? Over half of them, I believe, have medicinal programs at this point. And now, I believe 8 states plus D.C. are legal to possess and to smoke cannabis. So, they were supposed to be kind of rolling things back. And then this Sessions guy gets in and he starts talking tough about marijuana again. And Willie Nelson had some words for him. PersonalLiberty.com had the story originally over at Rolling Stone. It was an interview with Rolling Stone. And Nelson had said, so we started this, we never even really got into Nelson's quote because we just, got distracted. Anyway, Sessions would probably realize he's exaggerating when Sessions has claimed that marijuana is, quote, only slightly less awful, unquote, than heroin if he'd actually tried both drugs. 84-year-old country outlaw said, Nelson said this, quote, I wonder if he's tried both of them. I don't think you can really make a statement like that unless you tried it all. So I'd like to suggest to Jeff to try it and then let me know later if he thinks that he's still telling the truth.
Well, I have smoked the marijuana, and I have taken an oxycodone one time. I had a ruptured eardrum.
Yeah, what was the milligrams on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I can tell you I was pretty messed up.
So maybe it was like a 20 or something like
I don't know. I don't know.
How messed up? Like motor functions were pretty messed up kind of thing? Like, 'cause
I certainly shouldn't have been. Shouldn't have been driving.
Yeah.
I was not driving. I'm just saying I should not have been driving.
All right, good evening here, and welcome here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Having a little audio issue there at the beginning, but I think we got everything worked out. This is Will, as always, your host here live from the beautiful Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, nestled in our beautiful little secret Liberty bunker. And I'm joined joined by my host, as always, Mr. Tom Gray. How you doing tonight, Tom?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, Will. This week on the Call to Freedom
in Libertarian,
MAGA, yeah, make ammunition and guns for Arabia.
Well, I think it's funny because you've got like people in America flipping out over what's going on, and then you've got Muslims also flipping out over what's going on, and it's over the same picture but for completely different reasons. Now, in Saudi Arabia, if you're a woman and you shake hands with a man who's what they call a non-mahram, which basically means he's not your brother, your husband, or your father, or your uncle, that you can be criminally punished for that. But if you're Melania Trump and your husband is there to sell $350 billion worth of weapons to Saudi, we can sweep those rules under the rug. And I find that kind of funny.
Know if you knew this,
and
Will.
Also,
just Melania was the name of one of the prophet's wives, wasn't it? That's a good old-fashioned Muslim name, isn't it, Melania?
Well, actually, now it's more of a Chechen. It's more of a Chechen name. It's used more often in that area. But the Prophet ﷺ was actually married to women from all different cultures, and it was purposeful. It's actually a sunnah to do what I did, which is marry a woman from outside of your race or tribe or quote-unquote people. It's supposed to encourage good between people.
Trump is a good Muslim because he married, an immigrant. He married several
immigrants.
Yeah. He did not all at once, mind you.
Yeah, right. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, and tonight we've also got a very special guest with us. I don't know I don't know. Is the 30 days from New York up yet? Has there been an official announcement from Mr. Larry Sharpe? I don't know, but we've got him on the air with us tonight. Everybody who's libertarian, who follows social media at all, has heard about all of the great and wonderful drama that's been going on in this week's installment of Libertarian Drama of the Week.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm sorry, Larry. It's nice to have you on with us tonight.
I'm here listening to the drama.
Hey man, we've actually been doing
it through the hourglass.
Right,
these are the dramas of our lives.
Oh no, I need the music now. See, I wish you would have said that earlier. I would have had the Days of Our Lives music queued up and ready to roll.
I was doing the music. Are you tone deaf?
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
But no,
everybody
we've
who
been
hears him
having
singing knows that. Welcome, Larry.
We've had this thing going on, Larry, for the last few weeks about like libertarian drama of the week, because there's been it's basically been like the libertarian drama of the week. You've had like Satan Gate, and you've had the thing with Arvin with the troops, and then there was the Pennsylvania event, and then Florida's convention. It's like every week there's like this whole new level of crybaby drama to go through, and like I'm waiting on Marlena and Victor Kiriakis and Stefano Demira to show up and start throwing sand and monkey poo around.
Well, I think a lot of this is it's growing pains. I mean, we're trying to figure out what do we do after last year, and I think a lot of people have decided that each side thinks that they have the right answer. I'm not sure any of us do, to be fair with you, but I think that's what's happening. Everyone thinks their side was the right one. If Gary Johnson and Bill Weld had been more like my side, whatever my side is, then we would have won. I think that's one of the issues we're having.
Well, now my argument personally isn't that we would have won, because I said, like, look, we're not. This isn't, everybody had this dream that this was somehow the Libertarian year, and even though it was a good year for the Libertarian Party to make great gains, it was never the Libertarian year. No matter what candidates that we had offered up, it could have been Darryl Perry and Larry Sharp, and it wouldn't have changed anything. The numbers would have been about the same, I believe, and the penetration probably would have been about the same. I personally believe you could have gotten more penetration in certain areas than Weld and Johnson did, but that's conjecture, and unfortunately we never can find out the truth of that matter. But I think that we wouldn't see the party we see today if it weren't for the fact that Johnson and Weld was the ticket. That I made the statement at the party convention that there was this split that was in the works, and I said that based on observations of touring around the country and seeing the division in state parties that I was seeing, and it looks to me like I've been vindicated in that statement. I mean, since the nomination of Weld, we've had 3 libertarian media organizations completely turn against the Libertarian Party, embrace the alt-right movement, the Pinochet fetishists, and the Pepe crowd. And then we also saw another exodus of people who were Libertarian Party libertarians, who were anarchists, who were in the party, who instead of going and embracing the alt-right, they simply went back to libertarian work outside of the party, feeling no longer represented at least by the delegation.
I think a lot of that's. I think the issue we have to worry about here is, can we find a way to unite the factions to move forward? And I'm not sure that's going to be. I'm sure that's going to be a difficult thing to do. There's no question that's going to be difficult. The problem is, as soon as someone gets upset, and this has been common, someone's upset, I'm leaving the party. I'm leaving the party. And then the other person who did the upsetting says, you're a snowflake. And guess what? We're all snowflakes.
All right. Well, when we get back, we will. When we get.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
All right. Excuse me. All right. Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Lord have mercy, what a night already, and we've literally just gotten started. I've been a little under the weather all week. So has my wife and kids. My son picked something up at school and brought it home because that's what children do. And so I'm sure you can hear that in my voice this evening. I'm a little Barry White tonight. Compared to a normal broadcast, but we're
telling yourself that,
right? Hey, baby. so tonight we've got
text you, Will. All good.
Right. So we've got Larry Sharp with us tonight, and I want to ask just straight up, Larry, did you get the job with that big company, or has that happened?
Not.
You did not. So
I did not know. So
does that
I'm now
mean
looking at my campaign?
that I'll have like some work that I need to be doing and some things I need to be setting up for you in the near future.
Yes,
Yes.
probably yes. I want to make 100% sure. I'm still grabbing my team. I still have some conversations to have to get the right people in place. So now I'm starting. I didn't want to start raising money and putting people together and all of a sudden say I'm just kidding. That I know that's over. I can move on. So yes,
Awesome.
we can now look at building a campaign now.
See, that's what I like to hear. That's what I've been waiting to hear.
Yes.
I've been waiting since May of last year to hear those words come out of your mouth. So, woohoo!
That's good. Yes.
All right. So, all right. Now, to kind of lead into this discussion,
We're all snowflakes.
Yeah, we're all snowflakes. Well, I've actually found that all snowflakes, regardless of left or right, all melt at the same temperature, and it's the first mention of something that they find offensive.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, and we all have our sacred cows.
Yes.
But see, part of being a libertarian, though, I always felt was disregarding those sacred cows. That was one of the things about Ron Paul, for instance, that really got my attention, was the fact that there are all of these sacred cows in government, Israeli and foreign aid in general, military spending, Social Security and Medicaid. They're different things that, like, you can't even really talk about them. You can't even discuss cutting them. Or you're un-American. You want the terrorists to win.
But what
you hate the
libertarian
truth.
thinks that that's a problem? I don't think any libertarians have a problem with that.
Well, the ones that don't like calling all members of the armed services murderers might
That
have
has nothing to do with cutting.
Okay, again, though, this is
Nothing to do with it.
2 years ago, what Arvin said would be considered a completely uncontroversial opinion among libertarians. Something that I've heard on this very radio station, on a show that comes on before ours, that's on over 170 stations around the country. And it's an uncontroversial opinion among libertarians. If it was me and we were going to be upset about reach and about it being used to attack by non-libertarians to attack libertarians, I would be much more worried about a radio show that's on 170 stations around the country than I am about a guy who, if I went to work tomorrow and I asked every single person that I work with who is Arvin Vahra, every single one of them would look at me and go, "What's a what?" Like, they wouldn't even know it was a person's name, let alone that he exists.
Of course not. Not now. No one cares. Look, they're pulling tweets from Donald Trump from 3-4 years ago now. They finally figured out this was a good idea, that social media is a written record. Yes. So now that they know that, right now they don't care about us. We're not a threat. But wait till we have someone who's about to win. Wait till we have someone who's going to win a statewide election. Or forget about a federal election. Imagine that. All this stuff then comes out. See? You guys think everyone's murderers.
But we've got
so yes, it does matter.
But we have 10 years worth of social media posts that say these things from other popular and influential libertarian voices.
And that's not good.
But
Yes,
to me, that makes it uncontroversial.
But I hope that they weren't part of the libertarian. Hope they weren't part of Libertarian Party leadership. And if they were said by Libertarian Party leadership, I would hope that at least when you say it, someone says, "We don't agree with that." Immediately, a statement would come out saying, "The party does not agree with that." That never happened. No one said squat publicly. No one came out publicly and said what Arvin Vohra said. The Libertarian Party does not believe that to be true. Our platform does not say every military person is a murderer or there should be no military. Our platform does not say that.
Yeah, but
that's
by the same
here for both of you.
Okay.
Like something that's contrarian for both of you. All right, so I'm the ex-Republican in the room. You guys might remember a guy by the name of Todd Aiken.
Yes.
Who ran for what was a vulnerable seat in, was it Illinois or Iowa? They're kind of all the same to me, but they start with I and there's a lot of wheat. Anyway, he made the comment on the campaign trail, and it was along the lines of babies that are born of rape are miracles from God, so we shouldn't abort them.
Yep.
Now, that tanked his campaign, but it didn't affect anybody else in the Republican Party.
Yep.
And the Republican Party itself never issued any sort of statement. So, Larry, what I would ask you is, okay, you've got a person who's not running for office, who's just a member of the national committee.
Yep.
Why would his statements from however many years ago it is, because we don't have another election even until next year, drag down a libertarian candidate in that election?
2 reasons. Number one, candidates can be bomb throwers. Many of them are. But the LNC and LP is the basically administrative arm of our political party. So what they say, they supposedly set the agenda. They supposedly set the platform. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. If a DNC person in a platform said something that bad, they're gone. That's happened every time. RNC, gone. But not just that. You go to the public sector, private sector, whatever it might be. Does someone who drinks Coca-Cola, can they say Coca-Cola's bad or people suck? Of course they could. No worries. But can anyone on any executive board say anything that might be close to disparaging for any customers of that company? No. They're gone. No exception. They have to say sorry so they can get the next job. But that job, they're gone. That's how the world works in the regular world. We don't have to worry because
not
we're
in the
so
LP
small.
though. Not in the LP. And this last election absolutely shows that. And I'm going to go back to what Tom said here, where we had a candidate who was not just throwing bombs; he was throwing bombs at the Libertarian Party's platform. He went on national television and said, "I, the Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate, support the man."